Chapter 1052. You. Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin and pointed at him. Huamin was speechless. Okay, let's do it. Then, it was rock, paper, scissors. Jiang Shaowei used paper, while Huamin used rock. Fuck. I can't believe I lost. Jiang Shaowei pouted. Ha, you shot yourself in the foot, didn't you? Huamin laughed. I'll choose truth, I'm afraid I can't do dare. Jiang Shaowei accepted her punishment as she rubbed her round belly. Let me think, what should I ask? Huamin thought hard. Truth or dare usually ask tough questions, so she decided to prank Shaowei. Suddenly, she had an idea and asked in all seriousness, how many times a night do you and Wei Liao do it? After she asked this question, everyone burst out laughing. Even Su Yu couldn't help but laugh. He thought to himself, Huamin, do you really want to play Jiang Shaowei to death? Wei Liao immediately looked away, not daring to look at his wife. He covered his face with his hands, embarrassed. It didn't feel good to talk about private matters in front of so many people. However, it wasn't Huamin's fault. His wife was too cocky and challenged Huamin right off the bat, but she lost miserably. Ahem, twice, Jiang Shaowei answered shyly. Oh, really? Zhu Lingling obviously didn't believe her. Of course it's true. At our age, doing it twice a night is already very frequent, okay? Jiang Shaowei laughed. Twice a night and you got pregnant so quickly. I have to say, the hit rate is pretty high. Su Yu said. Jiang Shaowei immediately rolled her eyes at Su Yu. Don't gloat over my misfortune. Although I'm cannon fodder, you guys will also have a good time, huh? Jiang Shaowei pointed at the people around her and laughed. You passed. Who do you want to challenge next, Huamin? Zhu Lingling looked at Huamin and asked. I choose Gao Ran. Huamin smiled maliciously. Why do I feel like you've been planning this for a long time? Gao Ran looked at Huamin's smug smile and felt a chill in his heart. It's okay, don't be scared. Maybe she'll lose and you'll be able to make a comeback, Zhu Lingling comforted. Rock, paper, scissors. Gao Ran and Jiang Shaowei both used paper, while Huamin used scissors. Oh my gosh, you're so stupid. Didn't you see Shaowei use paper? She already lost, why are you still using paper? Zhu Lingling complained. I know, I thought Huamin wouldn't expect me to use paper. Gao Ran thought he was smart. You're too smart for your own good, Hua Xiqian said casually. In the end, Gao Ran could only lower his head and admit defeat, truth or dare. Huamin asked. Dare, I'm scared that you'll ask something mean, so I choose dare, Gao Ran said without hesitation. Ahem, listen up, please kiss the woman sitting across from you for 1 minute. The countdown starts now. As soon as Huamin finished speaking, the entire room went crazy. Qin Chu lovingly patted Huamin's head. Honey, you're so mean. That's what I'm playing with, Huamin said proudly. She had been plotting this for a long time, and Gao Ran finally fell for it. Who was Huamin? How could he lose to her in rock, paper, scissors? She was the best at psychological tactics. She knew that Gao Ran would think he was smart enough to do something strange with Jiang Shaowei, so she was prepared to set him up. Can we change it? Gao Ran looked at Zhu Lingling and gulped. He wanted to kiss her, too. He wanted to kiss her, but what if he did? Wouldn't Zhu Lingling kill him? Girl, you're so mean. Zhu Lingling's face was also red. Hurry up, don't waste time. Huamin urged impatiently. Good luck. Jiang Shaowei picked up a fruit salad and ate happily. Compared to Gao Ran, Huamin was really kind to her, okay? Helpless, Gao Ran stood up, adjusted his collar, and strode towards Zhu Lingling. Fuck, what are you doing? Are you really going to do that to me? Zhu Lingling was scared out of her wits. She really couldn't bring herself to kiss him in front of so many people. Chapter 1053. Just then, Gao Ran walked over and whispered into Zhu Lingling's ear, "Don't be nervous, I'm just pretending to kiss you. They won't be able to tell." While Zhu Lingling was still in a daze, Gao Ran cupped her face and kissed her. Since his back was facing everyone, he really was pretending to kiss her. However, looking at him from such a close distance, Zhu Lingling still felt weird and embarrassed. Just as she was about to say something, Gao Ran suddenly kissed her and bit her lips. He was so gentle that Zhu Lingling felt her mind go blank. She didn't even have the ability to think. Ouch, ouch, everyone was cheering and clapping behind them. It looked like a wedding. After a minute, Gao Ran reluctantly let go of Zhu Lingling. Slap. Zhu Lingling slapped him. "Damn it, didn't you say you were pretending to kiss me? You liar." "I couldn't control myself." Gao Ran scratched the back of his head and giggled. Everyone burst into laughter. "Haha, Lingling, you're so innocent. Would you believe a man who told you that he was pretending to kiss you? Do you think men usually tell women, 'Don't worry, I'll just put it at the door and won't go in'? Is that true?" Jiang Shaowei boldly said something dirty, making everyone laugh. Wei Liao kept reminding his wife, "Honey, please be mindful of your status. You're a doctor." "So what if I'm a doctor? Do doctors not have sex? Then how did I get pregnant?" Jiang Shaowei's question made Wei Liao feel embarrassed. Everyone burst into laughter again. Only Song Yishe rolled her eyes at Jiang Shaowei and cursed under her breath, "Vulgar woman." It was a good thing that Jiang Shaowei didn't hear her, or else it would have been another world war. Zhu Lingling had already hit her, and Gao Ran had already kissed her. So, this matter was over. Then, Gao Ran became the next sponsor, and surprisingly, he chose Qin Chu. "Heh, do you want to take revenge?" Huamin leaned in Qin Chu's arms and asked coquettishly. "Of course not. Am I such a petty person?" Gao Ran retorted. "You are." Qin Chu and Huamin said in unison. "All right, congratulations. You guessed right." "Ha, I want revenge." Gao Ran laughed wildly. Then, he exerted all his strength and began to play rock, paper, scissors with Qin Chu. The result was very sad. Gao Ran used the scissors, while Qin Chu used the rock. In the end, Qin Chu won. "Idiot, why did you use the scissors?" Zhu Lingling was worried for him. Because Huamin used the scissors to win every battle." Gao Ran's forehead was covered in cold sweat. "You're not Huamin. Why did you use the scissors?" "I'm worried for your intelligence." Zhu Lingling was speechless. "Honey, you're the best." Huamin clapped her hands and cheered for Qin Chu. "Truth or dare?" Qin Chu stared at Gao Ran and asked with a smile. "Truth." Gao Ran learned his lesson after being played by Huamin. He was afraid that Qin Chu, the big pervert, would ask him to give him another wet kiss. He wanted to kiss him. However, if he got slapped by Zhu Lingling again, he wouldn't be able to show his face in front of others. "Out of all the women here, who do you like?" Qin Chu asked decisively. Gao Ran felt even more awkward. "Can't you fucking change to someone else?" He didn't dare to confess to Zhu Lingling because he was afraid of being rejected. If he said it in front of so many people and got rejected, how could he survive? "Hurry up and answer," Huamin urged with a smile. Everyone looked at Gao Ran as if they already knew the answer, but he didn't dare to say it. Zhu Lingling awkwardly held the red wine and pretended to drink it calmly. Then, she heard Gao Ran say, "Zhu Lingling. Hey, not bad, you have good taste." Hua Min smiled. Zhu Lingling immediately lowered her head. She wanted to find a hole in the ground to hide in. Qin Chu and Hua Mian were the originators of black-bellied schemes. They didn't even have to pay for it. Zhu Lingling thought that if she and Gao Ran continued like this, they would break down. Just then, Gao Ran completed his mission. Hua Min smiled at Qin Chu. Honey, you choose your opponent. Hua Xiqian, Qin Chu calmly said as he looked at the man not far away, who was smiling silently. Hua Min froze. He didn't expect Qin Chu to pick him either. Chapter 1054. I'm a little surprised. I didn't think my brother-in-law would pick me. Hua Xiqian slowly stood up and picked up a wet towel to wipe his hands like a gentleman. Qin Chu looked at him with a complicated expression. Then, the two men walked up to each other and threw their fists at each other. Surprisingly, Hua Xiqian lost. Qin Chu won again. Hua Xiqian used rock, while Qin Chu used paper. There was no evidence, no psychological warfare, it was pure luck. Unfortunately, I won. Qin Chu seemed to have known that he would win. Truth or dare? Qin Chu asked. Truth. Hua Xiqian was a cautious person, so he wouldn't choose dare so easily. Truth was the most difficult part, and he could only answer a question. Dare, on the other hand, meant that he would never know what his opponent would ask him to do. Therefore, he chose dare without even thinking about it. Same question as before. Out of all the women, who do you like? Qin Chu stared into Hua Xiqian's eyes and asked. Hua Xiqian licked his lips and smiled meaningfully. His sister was really interesting. She must have done it on purpose, right? It seemed like it was premeditated as well. Hua Min was slightly surprised. He looked up at Hua Xiqian. She didn't know why, but she felt a little scared. She had a feeling that their duel had something to do with her. Mo Shui, who was drinking red wine, paused for a moment. Then, she slowly sipped her wine, but her heart was in a mess. Su Yu looked at Qin Chu and then at Hua Xiqian. He seemed to have understood what was going on. After 3 seconds of hesitation, Hua Xiqian pointed at the person across from him and said, without a doubt, it's Shui. Mo Shui put down her wine glass and smiled. It was a very sweet smile. Hua Min also seemed to be relieved. Hua Xiqian didn't tell the truth. He went against the rules and chose to lie. However, Qin Chu didn't expose him. He didn't want to expose him. He just wanted to give him a little psychological pressure and let him know that he knew what he was thinking. Qin Chu stared into his eyes for a while before finally saying, it's your turn to choose. I choose Lord Su. Hua Xiqian didn't even think about it. Su Yu slowly got up. Being called out by Hua Xiqian made him feel rather displeased. In fact, it was as if he had a premeditated plan against him. Everyone here had their own ulterior motives. The people they wanted to challenge, the things they wanted to do, and the questions they wanted to ask were all different. After a round of rock paper scissors, Su Yu lost. Hua Xiqian used the scissors and Su Yu used the paper. It was still a matter of luck. Truth or dare? Truth. Su Yu was also a cautious person. His reasoning was the same as Hua Xiqian's. Whose picture is on your screensaver? Hua Xiqian asked a question that he already knew the answer to. He already knew that Hua Xiqian had a picture on his screensaver, but he still asked in front of so many people. At this moment, everyone looked at Su Yu, Ni Yang, Mo Shui, Hingzi, and the others didn't know that Su Yu's screensaver was a picture of someone. Qin Chu, Hua Min, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, Wei Liao, Xiao Wei, and even Song Yisher knew about Su Yu's feelings for Hua Min. However, Hua Min didn't know about the screensaver before. Therefore, when he heard Hua Xiqian's question, he really panicked. Qin Chu looked at Hua Xiqian with disdain. He was purposely making things difficult for Hua Xiqian. However, Hua Xiqian passed the problem to Su Yu and vented his anger on Su Yu. Su Yu was silent for 3 seconds. Then, he opened his mouth. Everyone held their breaths and waited for Su Yu's answer. Chapter 1055. Su Yu said, word for word, I can't answer this question, so I choose dare. As soon as he said this, the entire room went into an uproar. If you didn't want to answer a truth question, you could choose dare. There was indeed such a rule. Hua Xiqian smiled proudly. Drink an entire bottle of red wine in one go. You have 30 seconds. Aren't you being a little too hard? Wei Liao was a little angry. Red wine was already strong, and drinking it in one go was already hard enough. 30 seconds. Wasn't he purposely toying with Su Yu? Lord Su, can't you take it? Hua Xiqian looked at Su Yu and asked with a smile. I accept. Su Yu nodded, indicating that he accepted Hua Xiqian's dare. Lord Su. Wei Liao seemed a little worried. Su Yu. Ever since Jiang Shaowei got together with Wei Liao, she also treated Su Yu as a friend. Therefore, it was normal for the couple to be worried. This red wine isn't the kind that costs a few thousand yuan. It's very strong, or else you wouldn't have drunk it all in one go. Huamin pleaded for Su Yu, which was rare of her. She also felt that this request was a little too hard. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He didn't care about the relationship between Su Yu and Hua Xiqian. However, even though everyone said this, Su Yu still wanted to save face. He couldn't tell everyone that he was the only one on his screensaver who accepted this challenge. Su Yu picked up the red wine in front of him, tilted his head back, and gulped it down in one go. Hua Xiqian looked at his watch. It seemed like he was calculating the time. Time's up, Hua Xiqian yelled out. Su Yu had just finished his red wine. Song Yisher laughed and clapped her hands in Schadenfreude. Young Master Su, you're such a good drinker. The way Jiang Shaowei looked at Song Yisher seemed to be saying, fuck you. Huamin looked at Su Yu worriedly. If he had known that Su Yu would be put in a difficult position, he would not have invited Su Yu. Huamin didn't like Su Yu, but he didn't want to make things difficult for him. After all, he had lent a helping hand to her and Qin Chu when they were on the brink of death. There weren't many men like him in this world. Su Yu was a real man, an honest and upright man. It's finished. Su Yu sighed and said softly. After saying that, he couldn't help but get up and rush to the bathroom, vomiting crazily. The red wine was too strong. Even with his high alcohol tolerance, he felt a little dizzy. Is he okay? Jiang Shaowei looked at him worriedly. Huamin got up and went to the kitchen to pour a glass of warm water for Su Yu. Thank you. Su Yu took the warm water and drank it in one gulp. He seemed to feel a little better. If you can't drink, then don't choose dare. Even if you answer the truth, no one will laugh at you. Huamin looked at Su Yu and said in all seriousness. Su Yu looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. He only felt that her face was a little blurry. Perhaps it was because of the alcohol, but after standing for a while, he slowly replied, I'm afraid that they'll laugh at you. Huamin's body trembled, as if she was shocked by Su Yu's words. Who would have thought that an arrogant person like Su Yu would think for others? She had to admit that she was shocked. She also indirectly verified one thing, and that was that she was Su Yu's screensaver. After being stunned for a while, Huamin slowly replied, Su Yu, don't say any more. I know that between us, it's impossible. You have Qin Chu, and you love him a lot. You're willing to die for him, I understand. You don't have to say it to me, I understand. Suyu interrupted Huamin and said everything that she wanted to say. For the first time, Huamin felt speechless. Don't worry. I won't cause you any trouble. I just want to silently like you, silently like you. After speaking, Suyu smiled bitterly and staggered out of the bathroom. Next, I choose Wei Liao. Suyu continued to call out names and played truth or dare with them. Huamin stood in the same spot, thinking about Suyu's words and feeling very uncomfortable. In the end, everyone called out names, except for Song Yishe. She sat there awkwardly. In the end, she couldn't take it anymore, so she stood up and said, Qin Chu, can I choose to play rock, paper, scissors with you? Chapter 1056. Before Qin Chu could refuse, Huamin came back from the washroom. My husband won't play with you. If you want to have fun, I can play with you, okay? Song Yishe looked at Huamin provocatively. This woman won't turn back until she hits the wall. After being played by Huamin, she still wants to hit the wall. She's so cheap. There are 3 levels in the sword manual, top, middle, and bottom. I'm speechless that she chose the bottom. Zhu Lingling was good at scolding people. After hearing what she said, Gao Ran chuckled. So you're saying that she's cheap? Gao Ran asked in a low voice. Zhu Lingling ignored Gao Ran. She seemed to still be angry about the wet kiss just now. The game of rock, paper, scissors began, and Huamian won instantly. She was basically an expert in this game. She could guess what you were going to play just by looking at your expression. Song Yishe and Gao Ran were the same. They lost because they thought they were smart. Truth or dare? Huamin let her choose. Truth. She was looking forward to Huamin asking her who she liked. Then, she could confidently confess to Qin Chu. If she confessed to Qin Chu in front of so many people, Huamin would be furious, right? That was what she thought. Do you know the meaning of truth? You have to tell the truth. So, you have to swear before I ask. How do I swear? Song Yishe asked with a dark expression. It means that if you lie, you'll be punished. Huamin looked at her and replied. Okay, Song Yishe, swear that I'm telling the truth. If I lie, I'll kill my parents and my whole family. In order to confess to Qin Chu, she was going all out. Bitch Song is dead meat this time. She fell into Huamin's trap, hee. Jiang Shaowei was overjoyed. However, she knew Huamin very well. Huamin was definitely up to something. However, Song Yishe didn't realize it and even set another trap for himself. This time, he really couldn't lie. Otherwise, his entire family would die. What a terrifying curse. That's enough, right? Ask away. Song Yishe said proudly. When was your first night? Huamin asked calmly. Upon hearing this question, Song Yishe's face turned green. She never thought that Huamin would ask such a harsh question. She had always pretended to be a goddess, but her virginity was really gone, lost in Italy. And it was a one-night stand with a middle-aged man. It wasn't with her boyfriend in Italy, so how could she say it out loud? Huamin asked about the time, which was actually 10 years ago. At the time, she was only 16 years old. Because she lived in Italy for a long time, she matured early and didn't think there was anything wrong with it. The problem was, she didn't want to admit it in front of Qin Chu. If she did, Qin Chu wouldn't have a good impression of her. So, she stuttered for a long time. Miss Song, do you want to answer? Huamin asked calmly with his arms crossed. Should I choose dare? In the end, Song Yishe took the risk and chose not to answer the truth, just like Suyu did. Are you sure? Huamin asked with a smile. I'm sure. Song Yisha was ready to go all out. Chin Chu didn't look at her the entire time because to him, Song Yisha was no more than a passerby. She had been trying so hard to maintain her goddess image in front of Chin Chu. However, Mr. Chin had only had one goddess since he was young, and her name was Huamin. Ha ha ha, see? I told you, bitch song is going to be played to death by Mian, Jiang Xiaowei mumbled excitedly as she tugged on Wei Liao's sleeve. Wei Liao kept comforting his wife, don't be impulsive, honey. You're pregnant, calm down. Mian, hurry up and make your request. Miss Song chose dare, Zhu Lingling reminded Huamian, gloating over her misfortune. It seemed like everyone was waiting for Huamin to make a request that would shock the hell out of bitch Song. Chapter 1057. Everyone thought that Huamin would take the opportunity to make some outrageous request, such as asking Song Yisha to kneel down and lick his shoes. However, Huamin was Huamin, and he would never push someone to the brink. So, even though everyone was looking forward to it, he still chose a relatively simple request for Song Yisha. Sing the last line of The Tibetan Plateau, Huamin said faintly. Song Yisha was speechless. That's so simple, Huamin, are you crazy? Zhu Lingling was clearly unhappy. Jiang Xiaowei froze as well, as if she didn't expect Huamin's request to be so simple. However, she didn't say anything. She just quietly looked at Huamin. My little sister Mian is really merciful. It's so simple, Miss Song, why aren't you singing? Even Hua Xichen thought that Huamin was being merciful, so he smiled at Song Yisha. She was wearing a noble mermaid princess dress, and her face was red as she stood up. Truth be told, she had studied pop music professionally, and she could even sing in 9 languages. However, she had never tried singing a song as ethnic as the Tibetan Plateau, nor had she ever sung that very high last line. Everyone looked at Song Yisha. Perhaps she realized that she had to do what she said, so after some thought, she clenched her teeth and sang, that is. The Tibetan Plateau. Plateau. When she reached the highest note, her voice broke. Even though Song Yisha sang it, it was still very unpleasant. It was like a ghost crying and a wolf howling. If it wasn't for the fact that she was a folk singer and her voice wasn't loud and clear, very few people could sing the last line of The Tibetan Plateau perfectly. Even though many celebrities had covered this song, Huamin still felt that the original singer, Li Na, sang it the best. She had a strong Tibetan accent. Song Yisha held her breath and finished singing. As expected, everyone looked at her mockingly. Then, a shocking scene occurred. Song Yisha was actually crying. She stood there and sobbed softly. What are you doing? Are you a sore loser? Jiang Xiaowei couldn't stand her pretentious attitude. She was such a bitch. I just feel that, today was a bit embarrassing. Maybe you all have some misunderstandings about me, so you all don't really like me. I can tell. Since that's the case, I'll leave first. After speaking, Song Yisha walked out. She cried as she walked. None of the people in the room moved. No one wanted to have too much contact with someone like Song Yisha. Huamin didn't want to follow up and ask, because that would make him seem like a saint. He didn't like her in the first place, so why did he have to pretend to like her? Sometimes, it was better to be simple between people. If it was too complicated, it would be uncomfortable. Honey, do you want the chauffeur to drive her home? Huamin looked at Chin Chu. No need, it's better that she's gone. After speaking, Chin Chu looked around. Seeing that everyone was drinking to their heart's content, he nodded and whispered a few words into Uncle Li's ear. Not long after, Uncle Li came out with another box of red wine. This time, it was even better than the one before. Huamin, why didn't you teach bitch Song a lesson? It was a perfect opportunity for revenge. Jiang Xiaowei didn't hesitate to call Song Yishe a bitch in front of everyone. No one was surprised, they seemed to think that Jiang Xiaowei was right. To be honest, I have my own selfish motives. I wanted to vent my anger, but, if I did that, I would become like her. I don't want to do that. I can't lose my principles for my own selfish reasons, Huamin said faintly. Chapter 1058. Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin with admiration. You're so broad-minded and magnanimous. It's not appropriate to not forgive your enemy, but you also wouldn't take the initiative to set her up. You're so righteous, I think many men can't compare to you. Jiang Xiaowei was full of praise for Huamin. Wei Liao often thought that it was a good thing that Jiang Xiaowei and Huamin were both women. If one of them was a man and the other was a woman, there probably wouldn't be anything between him and Qin Chu. The two of them would be a couple. After Song Yishe left, the atmosphere seemed to be better. Mo Shui and Ni Yang both sang their new songs. Gao Ran showed off his dart skills. It was very good, as expected of the good cop of the people. Everyone chatted and played as they ate. No one seemed to be unhappy about Song Yishe's departure. Su Yu, on the other hand, seemed a little lonely. He was dressed as Lucifer, so it was destined that he would be unique today. The truth was, he didn't dress up as the fallen angel Lucifer to attract attention. He was different from Song Yishe. Song Yishe was the one who dressed up as a mermaid and pretended to be a princess purely to attract attention. He suddenly thought of Lucifer and felt sad. Then, he felt that Lucifer was very similar to himself. He didn't think that it would cause such a big reaction. When it was time to take photos, Zhu Lingling and Jiang Xiaowei both took photos with Siyu with their phones. His black and gold wings were too awesome. They were unbelievably handsome, mysterious, cold, and low-key. He wasn't in the immortal realm or the demon realm. He was just a lonely existence in the dark world. Jiang Xiaowei felt that this identity was very suitable for Su Yu's current state of mind. He loved Huamin deeply but couldn't get her. However, they were all smart people. No one mentioned Su Yu and Huamin again. In the end, everyone drank until they were high. Ni Yang sat in front of the piano and played a dance song. Everyone held their wine glasses and began to dance. Even Huamin, who had always been reserved, was having fun with Zhu Lingling. Su Yu, on the other hand, was quietly watching them from the side. He didn't know why, but he actually felt out of place in such a situation. At this time, Qin Chu walked over to Su Yu with a glass of red wine. Thank you from the military doctor. I haven't had the chance to thank you. Qin Chu's voice was very calm. Just like Huamin, he never showed his emotions on his face. His face had a calmness that did not match his age. The black vampire costume made him look even more handsome and outstanding. Su Yu tilted his head and looked at Qin Chu. You don't have to thank me. I didn't do it for you. I know you didn't do it for me. I used to think that you liked Huamian because you couldn't get her or because you were curious. But now, that doesn't seem to be the case. Qin Chu never thought that he would one day be able to talk to Su Yu calmly. Moreover, they talked about his feelings for Huamin. My feelings for Huamin. Forget it, there's nothing left. You're very lucky. Qin Chu, sometimes I'm so jealous of you that I'm going crazy. You only appeared a few years before me, and you already occupied her entire life. To be honest, I was scared out of my wits the day of your surgery. I didn't think about anything at that time. There was only one thought in my mind, and that was that I wanted Huamin to live. So, I'd rather you continue to live, so that I can see her in perfect condition, Siyut said in all seriousness. Qin Chu held his wine glass and didn't say anything. He just quietly looked at Huamin, who wasn't too far away. She was holding hands with Zhu Lingling and doing a funny bunny dance. She looked extremely cute as she hopped around. She had a smile on her face that girls her age should have. Huamin looked especially beautiful when she smiled. Because she looked very childish, it brought out the purest part of her heart. Qin Chu looked at her seriously, and Su Yu's gaze was extremely gentle. Two equally outstanding men both had their eyes on Huamin. No matter how much they looked at her, they couldn't get enough of her. Just then, Su Yu said, "Don't relax. If you want to have her forever, you have to treat her well for the rest of your life. Otherwise, if you let her down, I'll definitely take her away from you," Su Yu threatened. Chapter 1059. You won't have the chance to make a move. Mian belongs to me in this life, the next life, and the life after that. Mr. Qin said proudly. Su Yu watched quietly without saying anything. He knew that Qin Chu loved Huamin dearly as well. He loved her so much that he was willing to sacrifice a lot. This wasn't something an ordinary person could accept. Su Yu once said that the kind of relationship he hated the most was childhood sweethearts. Because he appeared a few years later, he never had the chance to get involved. He didn't even have the chance to compete with Huamin. He felt like he had traveled back in time to his youth. Instead of joining the army, he went to second high school to get to know that arrogant girl. The lights in South Hill Manor were on the entire night, and everyone played all night. They seemed to be in a good mood. From Christmas Eve to Christmas Day, they welcomed a different holiday. At midnight, Uncle Lee acted like Santa Claus and pushed a cart out. There were many beautifully packaged peace fruits in the cart. Huamin casually picked up a peace fruit and handed it to Su Yu. "Here, it's almost the end of the year. I hope you'll be safe in the new year." Huamin gave Su Yu the best of wishes. She smiled at him. Su Yu slowly took the apple from Huamin's hand and didn't say anything. If he remembered correctly, this was the first real gift that Huamin gave him. His hands trembled slightly. Looking at the ordinary apple, he felt like his heart was heavy. "What? Do you think it's cheap?" Huamin asked with a smile. "No," Su Yu immediately explained. "Ha, take it. There's a legend that if you eat a peace fruit, you'll be safe forever. You're Lord Su, the richest man in the world. You don't lack money, you can have anything you want. I don't know what to give you for Christmas, so let's just eat apples." "Thank you." Su Yu held the apple tightly and thanked Huamin with mixed feelings. After that, Huamin distributed the fruits to everyone one by one. He took a fruit knife and cut one in half and gave it to Qin Chu. "Honey, from now on, as long as you're safe, I'm safe," Huamin said slowly. When Qin Chu heard Huamin's words of love, he was slightly moved. He took half of the apple and took a small bite. Huamin looked at Qin Chu happily as he ate. Even his smile was filled with sweetness. When Su Yu saw this scene from the side, he only felt that his eyes were a little sour. "See? I told you not to come to Qin Chu and Huamian's places in the future. Otherwise, you'll be looking for trouble again." Wei Liao patted Su Yu's shoulder from behind. "It's okay. I've been tempered into steel. My heart is no longer made of glass." "Then what is it?" Wei Liao asked curiously. "It's made of tempered glass," Su Yu replied with a smile. "Damn, isn't tempered glass still glass?" "It's the same as a bird," Wei Liao exclaimed with a smile. After Song Yisha left South Hill Manor, she didn't go home. Instead, she angrily drove to the Qin Manor. When she arrived, Lady Qin was putting on a face mask. Qin Yuman wasn't feeling well, so he had already gone to bed. "Mrs. Qin." She walked over in a spoiled manner. Sure, it's so late." Why are you here? Lady Qin was surprised to see Song Yishe. Wah! Mrs. Qin, I'm so useless. I've embarrassed you. Song Yishe suddenly started crying out of nowhere. Seeing Song Yishe like this, Lady Qin was dumbfounded. Chapter 1060. Although she didn't like Song Yishe and her mother because of Qin Chu, to be honest, they had known each other for years. Song Yishe had even lived here for a year when she was young, so she still liked her. Seeing her cry, Lady Qin immediately walked over and put her arm around her shoulders to comfort her. What's wrong, Yishe? Who bullied you? Tell Mama Qin. Mama Qin. I'm so useless. I ruined Qin Chu's party. I know I'm an idiot, so I can't beat them at games. I keep embarrassing myself and even gave Huamin something to use against me. I know Huamin didn't do it on purpose, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I've never embarrassed myself like this before. Mama Qin, I'm sorry, Song Yishe said incoherently. In the end, she even apologized to Lady Qin, which made Lady Qin even more confused. Yishe, don't cry. Can you tell me what happened? Song Yishe raised her head and looked at Lady Qin with tears in her eyes. Then, she explained what happened. Mama Qin, isn't today Christmas Eve? Huamin and Qin Chu held a private party at South Hill Manor and invited me. But I was too naive and thought wrong. I dressed up as a mermaid and pissed them off. Huamin's friends ganged up on me, but I didn't mind. After all, I went because of Qin Chu. But later, they said something to Qin Chu, and Qin Chu ignored me. In the end, they even played a perverted game to embarrass me. Maybe it's because I just came back to China that I'm not used to prank games. What game? Lady Qin asked curiously. Huamian was the one who asked me outrageous questions. She even made me swear that if I lied, my parents and my whole family would die. What? That's outrageous. Lady Qin's face darkened. Maybe. Huamin didn't do it on purpose. Maybe he did it for the entertainment effect of the game. Song Yishe cried. No matter what the effect is, you can't use your parents as entertainment. No, I have to ask her. Then, Lady Qin picked up the phone and was about to call Huamian. Mama Qin, Song Yishe, I don't want to do it. It's okay for me to suffer, but if your relationship with Huamian becomes strained because of me, then I'll be a sinner. I don't want you guys to do that. Huamian's, Mian, Lady Qin felt a little heartbroken a little bit. Because you are because you're Mian. If I don't think for you, who else should I think for? It's okay, Mama Qin, you should go to sleep. I just wanted to talk to you because I felt uncomfortable. Please don't take it to heart. I don't want you to misunderstand Huamin, right? Song Yishe changed the topic and began to pretend to be a good person again. After talking to Lady Qin for a while, Song Yishe turned around and left. Lady Qin watched as Song Yishe left the Li mansion. Instead of calling Huamin, she went upstairs to talk to Qin Yumin about what happened. After the incident with Qin Chu, Lady Qin seemed to have thought things through. Her only son was hanging by a thread between life and death. After going through such a dangerous situation, she seemed to have gotten over it and knew that she had something to discuss with her husband. After explaining what happened, Lady Qin asked, Dad, what do you think about this? Do you believe what Yishe said? Qin Yumin didn't directly answer. Instead, he asked a question of his own. Chapter 1061. It's hard to say. I used to believe her words, but now, I think Yishe is too cunning. Sometimes, she doesn't mean what she says. If you can think of that, it means you're smart. Qin Yumin nodded in appreciation. Dad, what do you mean? Lady Qin was slightly surprised. I don't want to talk about other things, since I didn't see it with my own eyes. But you have to know that if someone says something bad about you, it might be a lie or prejudice. But when everyone doesn't like you, you have to reflect on yourself. Shishir has always emphasized that Chu and Huamin's friends don't like her and they're ganging up on her. But if so many people are ganging up on her, she must have done something wrong. We can't just listen to her one-sided story, you're right. Lady Qin seemed to understand more and more. So, if you want to understand what happened, you can ask Huamin yourself, or, ask our son, Qin Yumin suggested. Huamin will never admit it, plus, our son is biased. Lady Qin said. Look at you, you're still biased against Huamin, aren't you? No, what I meant was. I can find some time to go to South Hill Manor tomorrow. Butler Lee is an honest man, so I'm sure he knows the whole story. Mrs. Qin smiled. Ha! I think you're a sly old fox now. Smart. Qin Yumin liked his wife, she was no longer a shrew and didn't blindly believe Song Yishir's words. After leaving the Qin family, Song Yishir didn't go home. Instead, she went to a private clubhouse with her friends. Because of Song Yishir's special status, she didn't go to places like Seductive Fox or bars in public. She didn't want to be caught, so she secretly went to a private clubhouse. In order not to be found, she parked her car at the entrance of her neighborhood and called her friends to pick her up. She was very discreet, inside a private club. In the spacious private room, there were 4 or 5 young ladies from prestigious families smoking. Everyone was accompanied by a male model. Although it was late winter, the indoor temperature was high. Therefore, the male models were all topless, but it was still obvious that they had good figures. In fact, men were not the only ones who were corrupt in high society. Women were the same. Money was a good thing. You can do anything you want, sure. A girl stood up to greet Song Yishir and pulled her to sit down beside her. She picked up a small Russian cigar and handed it over. Song Yishir swiftly took it and lit it. Then, his face turned gloomy. Pit, accompanied the great beauty Shishir. The girl ordered. At this time, a good-looking male model got up and walked over. However, he was rejected by Song Yishir. No need. Stay away from me. I'm upset. What's wrong? Shishir, who would dare to offend you? The girl asked with a smile. Let's not talk about it, it's annoying. Song Yishir was upset. Tell us, maybe we can help you. A few girls began to flirt with the male models in the private room. However, Song Yishir seemed to be used to this and wasn't surprised at all. I don't need you guys. If that woman pushes me too far, I'll make her disappear completely. When she thought about how Huamin made her sing Tibetan Plateau, Song Yishir felt like she was being insulted. The truth was, she didn't even know that Huamin had already gone easy on her. If it were Zhu Lingling or Jiang Shaowei, they would definitely make her lick their shoes, run naked, or sing Dongfang Hong in the toilet. That's why people say that people are never satisfied. Huamin's kindness sometimes became a fatal flaw. By the time the party ended, it was already 3 in the morning. Huamin kept asking them to stay, but everyone left one after another. In the end, only she and Qin Chu were left in the spacious room. Honey, did you have fun? Yeah, it was okay. Huamin nodded. Can you let me have fun too? Qin Chu asked with a smile. Chapter 1062. How do you want me to be happy? Huamin froze. He didn't know what Qin Chu was going to do. Then, Qin Chu picked him up and carried him upstairs. Put me down. Ha, look at the time, aren't you going to sleep? Min blushed as he struggled. I'll sleep after exercising, Mr. Qin replied proudly. But we didn't have time to remove our makeup. Before Min could finish, Qin Chu's kiss drowned him. The vampire couple's get-up was amazing. When Min sent it to Jixin screamed and said that his sister was too cool. But if Mr. Qin didn't allow her to remove her makeup, did that mean that he was a heavy drinker? Min didn't have time to think. After Mr. Qin finished, the two of them took a hot shower and fell asleep. When Min was lazy, he didn't even want to take a shower, so Mr. Qin took care of everything. That was why Zhu Lingling always said that he was a good husband. After leaving South Hill Manor, everyone had mixed feelings. Mo Shuer thought that Hua Xiqian would ask her to stay the night since it was so late, but he didn't. When she realized that they were heading towards her apartment, she felt strange. Xiqian, are you going to stay at my place tonight? Mo Shuer asked uncertainly. No, Shuer. I'm a little tired, I'm going back now, Hua Xiqian said tiredly after he walked Mo Shuer downstairs. In the past, no matter how tired they were, they would still do it once before leaving. Hua Xiqian was a very lustful person. Sometimes, he would do it multiple times a night, and Mo Shuer really liked that about him. He was handsome, considerate, and most importantly, he was very skilled. Even in bed, he was very considerate and gentlemanly. He would always ask Shuer which position was the most comfortable and try his best to cater to her. He didn't just do it for himself. Therefore, love aside, Hua Xiqian was really a very, very good bed partner. Putting aside the fact that he was her bedmate, she really loved him. When Mo Shuer saw that Hua Xiqian was about to leave, she kissed Hua Xiqian on the lips without hesitation. Hua Xiqian appeared very calm in the face of the sudden enthusiasm. He didn't push Mo Shuer away, but he didn't respond to her either. Mo Shuer let go of him in disappointment when he didn't respond. Do you hate me that much? She whispered. Shuer, you should understand that I don't hate you. You just don't like me, right? Mo Shuer smiled bitterly. Hua Xiqian remained silent. After being with Hua Xiqian for so long, she knew a lot of secrets, more than any other woman before Hua Xiqian. In a way, their relationship was no longer limited to bed partners. They seemed to have been upgraded to allies. Are you still daydreaming? Do you know how ridiculous it is that you like her? Let's not talk about the fact that people won't accept your relationship. Let's talk about the fact that she has another man by her side. Mo Shuer didn't finish her sentence. Hua Xiqian roared, enough. Mo Shuer stopped abruptly. She was really afraid of Hua Xiqian, especially when he got angry. Don't think that you can tell me what to do just because you know a lot of things. I told you before, there's no future between us, and there's no past. You can live the life you want, but don't interfere with me. You'll never understand what I want, and I'll never be able to give you what you want. After speaking, Hua Xiqian gave Mo Shuer a hard push. Mo Shuer was caught off guard and fell to the ground. Her knees were bruised. Then, Hua Xiqian drove away in his Maserati. Hua Xiqian, you bastard. Mo Shuer sat on the ground and started crying. She liked him so much, but he liked someone who didn't even want to look him in the eye. Could it be that everyone's bones were so cheap? Gao Ran drove Zhu Lingling home very slowly, as if he didn't want her to go home so quickly. Ha! Is this the way to my house? Why the fuck did you take a detour? Do you think you're a taxi? You don't even know the meter. What the fuck are you doing? Zhu Lingling cursed. Zhu Lingling, what? Do you like me? Gao Ran suddenly asked in all seriousness. Chapter 1063. What? Zhu Lingling thought she was hallucinating. so she asked again. This was a huge blow to Gao Ran's confidence. What did you just say? Zhu Lingling asked again. Nothing, Gao Ran replied, a little disappointed. Really, I'm not kidding. What did you just say? Repeat it again. Zhu Lingling was very curious. I can't repeat myself, Gao Ran said stubbornly. Shut up. I don't want to hear that. Zhu Lingling angrily turned her head to the other side. She was no longer looking at Gao Ran's face. Gao Ran suddenly remembered a joke, so he told Zhu Lingling, I once saw a joke in a book. It said that there was a prince who was cursed by a witch, so he could only speak one word a year. One day, he fell in love with a princess, and in order to confess, he didn't speak for 5 years. On the 6th year, he confessed to the princess that he loved her, but the princess said something that made the prince so angry that he fainted on the spot. Do you know what the princess said? She said that I don't love you, right? Zhu Lingling turned her head and asked. Gao Ran shook his head, then what did the princess say? Zhu Lingling asked curiously. Gao Ran helplessly looked at Zhu Lingling and said, the princess only said 3 words. What words? The princess asked the prince, what did you say? After Zhu Lingling heard this, she immediately realized what was going on. She burst out laughing, ha 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 ha, this princess is such an idiot, she actually asked him what he said. The prince didn't speak for 5 years, and now it's all gone. If I were the prince, I would be so angry that I fainted too. Zhu Lingling laughed heartlessly. Gao Ran secretly looked at the side of her face. He couldn't help but have the urge to give her a wet kiss once more, but he didn't dare. He wasn't sure if Zhu Lingling had the same feelings for him. If he acted rashly and was rejected by Zhu Lingling, they would not be friends in the future. It would be very awkward when they met. Therefore, Gao Ran suppressed this thought in his heart. He drove Zhu Lingling home. Finally, they arrived at Zhu Lingling's apartment. Let me send you upstairs. It's okay, the neighborhood is safe. Just drop me off here, Zhu Lingling replied. Ahem. Then you're not going to invite me upstairs for a cup of coffee or something? Gao Ran asked with a smile. Then, Zhu Lingling really thought he was joking. She immediately retorted, I want to treat you to a bath. Do you want to come? Gao Ran was speechless. I'm going, bye. Zhu Lingling casually said goodbye to Gao Ran before she turned around and walked into the neighborhood. Gao Ran also turned around, feeling lonely, but the moment he turned around, he suddenly heard Zhu Lingling yell from behind him, stupid cop. He subconsciously turned around. She was standing less than 5 meters away from him. Was what you said in truth or dare tonight true? Zhu Lingling yelled loudly. Yes. Gao Ran felt like his heart was beating like crazy when he said this answer. It was as nervous as if he had just confessed to her. Okay, I got it. Bye. Fuck. Zhu Lingling, stop right there. I promise I won't beat you to death. Gao Ran was furious. He rushed up to Zhu Lingling and grabbed her by the waist. Aw. What are you doing? Let go of me. Zhu Lingling struggled with all her might. How dare you trick me? I didn't. Zhu Lingling continued to pretend to be innocent. Then why did you call me? Gao Ran wasn't an idiot. He obviously didn't believe her words. Zhu Lingling suddenly turned around and wrapped her arms around Gao Ran's neck. She looked at him affectionately and said, stupid cop, if you don't mind my foul mouth, why don't we make do? What did you say? Gao Ran pretended not to understand and asked back. Chapter 1064. Fuck. Gao Ran, you bastard, are you messing with me? This time, it was Zhu Lingling's turn to be angry. Ha! Gao Ran laughed maniacally, pleased with himself. She punched his broad chest with her fists. Gao Ran wasn't angry. Then, he hugged Zhu Lingling and spun her around in circles. He seemed to be extremely excited. Although Zhu Lingling didn't make it clear, it was obvious that she wanted to date him. They had known each other since high school, and 7 years had passed. Finally, they were back to square one. Who said that Qin Chu and Huamin were the only ones who wasted 7 years? Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were the same. Time was the best test of a person's heart. Therefore, after going through so much, they finally saw their own hearts clearly. 3:30 a.m. on a cold, snowy night, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling kissed passionately at the entrance of their neighborhood. Their passion was enough to melt the entire snowfield. Huamin lay in bed and suddenly said, "Why do I feel like Snow White's stepmother and the magic mirror are going to have a happy ending? They're going to have a happy ending sooner or later." Qin Chu supported his wife's point of view. Just then, Huamin and Qin Chu's phones rang at the same time. They opened their WeChat group and saw that Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling had posted a midnight selfie. They finally got what they wanted. Huamin lay in bed and smiled. "It seems like they got drunk again. I have to thank my 2 boxes of red wine." Qin Chu also smiled. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran had known for a long time, but they refused to admit it. Now that their relationship had come to fruition, Qin Chu and Huamian were sincerely happy for them. "Congratulations," Huamin sent a WeChat message. "Give birth to a son soon, and you'll have plenty of children and grandchildren," Mr. Qin said. Gao Ran smiled and replied, "Don't worry. When I give birth to a son and you give birth to a daughter, we'll make them brother and sister." "That's right. When my family has a son and your family has a son, they can get married," Zhu Lingling added. "Perfect," Gao Ran praised Zhu Lingling. "Pervert." Qin Chu cursed. "Goodbye." Huamin was too lazy to care about the 2 poor dogs who had finally ended their single life, ignoring how perverted they were. The next morning, although it was Christmas, Huamin still went to report. After his promotion, he was especially busy with work. Director Li was transferred to the first hospital. Huamin was in charge of Southside's neurology department. There were 4 doctors in the department, including Huamin. Other than her, there was also a postgraduate student who had been working for more than 2 years. He was a man named Han Chao. There was also a woman in her 30s named Wang Caixia. The last one was an intern named. To be honest, Huamin thought they were average and didn't work hard enough. In comparison, the best one in the neurology department was his assistant nurse, Chen Jia. That young girl was always busy and never complained. She completed all the tasks Huamin gave her without a word. Sometimes, she even took the initiative to work overtime. Huamin thought it was good for young people to have this awareness. Chen Jia also graduated from high school. She was only 20 years old and was a specialist. Apparently, she came from a mountainous area and came from a poor family. Therefore, she worked very hard. Even so, there were many interns at Southside every year. In the end, less than 10 could become permanent employees, so the competition was fierce. One day, when Huamin went to work in the morning, he accidentally heard a conversation between Chen Jia and the neurologist. "Little Chen, are you stupid? It's easy for you to be promoted. Your department director was right-hand man. You just have to beg her and tell her about your family background. Maybe she'll be soft-hearted and agree to recommend you. You have to know that Department Director Hua is not only the director of our department, but also the chairman of the Hua Foundation. She has a lot of power and influence in front of Director Wu." When Huamin heard this, he held his breath and listened carefully. She wanted to know what her assistant would say. Did she make the wrong choice? Chapter 1065. I don't want to give Chief Hua a hard time. I want to go through the normal process, Chen Jie said weakly. Hey, don't be silly. You'll be eliminated by the time you go through the normal process. Those girls are sending gifts to HR every day. You won't even get a chance. Do you not want to stay at Southside anymore? Asked. Of course I do, but Chen Jie seemed to be in a difficult position. Go ask Chief Hua. She'll definitely help you. No, I don't want to give Chief Hua trouble. Chen Jie shook her head and left, not wanting to continue the conversation. Hua Min suddenly realized that she was so focused on work that she forgot about her subordinates. She walked into her office, typed out an application, and filled it out over and over again. At noon, she called Chen Jie into her office alone. Chief Hua, you were looking for me. Although Hua Min was only 4 years older than Chen Jie respected Hua Min a lot. She thought that Chen Jie was the most capable and hardworking person at Southside. Jie, sit down. Hua Min waved her hand and gestured for her to sit. Okay. This is for you. I wrote it down for you. I don't know if it's useful. Hua Min handed her an application. Chen Jie was dumbfounded when she saw it. It was an application form for her to become a full-fledged doctor. Hua Min had written hundreds of words of recommendation in the doctor's opinion column. They were all compliments, but they weren't exaggerated. Most of them were true. Chief, this. Chen Jie was flattered. Something happened to me before and I was on leave. If I didn't suddenly remember today, I would have delayed it. You've been here for half a year. You used to work under Chief Li and she always praised you. After I came to our department, you've helped me a lot. It's only right that I recommend you. Chief Hua, don't say that. I'm just doing my job. I'm not that good. It was obvious that Chen Jie wasn't being polite, her eyes were full of sincerity. They were all intern nurses, and they all had their own dreams. They didn't want to take shortcuts, and they all relied on their own hard work. Hua Min felt like he saw himself in her, but fortunately, he was lucky enough to be able to become an official doctor in a short period of time, take the exam, and get the medical certificate. Now, she had skipped grades and become the youngest chief physician in the hospital. Hua Min felt that she shouldn't be too greedy. She had gotten everything she wanted, therefore, he was deeply aware of this hardship and wanted to give these young people a chance. Little Jie, you don't have to be afraid. I think you can do it. Although there are only a few people left in our hospital every year, I believe you will be one of them. Director, tell me if you have any problems. I'm your boss, so I have to take good care of you. Hua Min really liked Chen Jie as his assistant. She was smart, well-behaved, and likable. She was meticulous and efficient. No, I'm fine, Director. I'm really fine. Chen Jie's family was the poorest among all the employees at Southside. However, she had never mentioned her family's condition to gain sympathy. Because she felt that it was not honorable to win that way, therefore, she struggled to hold on. As they chatted, Hua Min's phone suddenly rang. He picked up his phone and saw that it was an unknown number from Jing City. After a few rings, Hua Min picked it up in confusion. Hello? Hello? Hua Min. Yes, I am. I'm Feng Liqiao. A serious voice came from the other side. Hello, Director Feng. Hua Min suddenly realized who it was. How's your husband? He's doing well, thank you for your concern, Director Feng. Hua Min smiled. Hua Min, I don't beat around the bush. I'll make it short, listen carefully. As the director of the surgery department at Military General Hospital, I sincerely invite you to join our team. Our team lacks people with courage and skills like you. Huamin held onto his phone with a shocked expression. Was Professor Feng trying to poach her? He wanted her to jump ship to Military General Hospital in Jing City. Chapter 1066. To be honest, Huamin did not expect Professor Feng to call him again. After all, Professor Feng was a person of high status. That was a military order given by Su Yu's grandfather. To be honest, Huamin did not want to have anything to do with people from the military. After all, Zizi's waters were too deep. Therefore, when Professor Feng called Huamin and said those words, Huamin was still very shocked. Professor Feng, Huamin did not know what to say for a moment. Huamin, listen to me first. I don't know if old Wu has told you that I'm no longer accepting apprentices. The old Wu that Professor Feng mentioned was none other than Wu Zhongxing, the boss of the southern district. He did. President Wu said that you are a very prestigious and authoritative expert in our country. Don't flatter me. I've told old Wu that I won't take any more disciples, but you really shocked me. It's not like there aren't surgeries to remove a bullet near the heart in our country, and it's not like there haven't been any successful surgeries. It's just that when you performed the surgery, you were so calm and composed, and your superb skills really made me look at you in a new light. To be honest, I never dreamed that such an amazing person would appear in a small city like yours, and you're even a young girl who's not even 25 years old. I was really shocked. It's really a waste of talent for a person like you to stay in South Side and that small city. Come to the capital and be my disciple. Unpolished jade is polished after many years, and I will definitely turn you into the top internal medicine doctor in the country. Professor Feng was a very serious old man. Since he said so much at once, he must really want Huamin to go over. Professor Feng, I thank you for your recognition and affirmation. I know that there must be a lot of people who dream of being your apprentice, but Huamin paused. Is there a problem? Professor Feng asked. It's not a problem. It's just that I don't want to leave. My family and friends are here, and my husband's career is also here. I have a lot of feelings for this place. Although this is only a small city and not as big as the capital, I want to stay here for the rest of my life, Huamin said sincerely. Don't you want to pursue your dreams? Professor Feng frowned slightly, as if he was not optimistic about Huamin's future prospects. My dream is to be an outstanding doctor one day, and now I think I've done it. My other dream is to be with the person I love, and I've done it, Huamin said with a slight smile and replied to Professor Feng. But don't you have ambition? Don't you want to be better and better? Professor Feng asked, unwilling to give up. Huamin smiled again and said, actually, I've never been a career-minded woman, and I don't have many goals. I just want to live a peaceful life. Thank you for your kindness, but I really don't want to leave here. In the end, Huamin smiled and rejected Professor Feng's invitation. You really don't want to reconsider? Professor Feng did not give up and asked again. For him, Huamin was indeed a medical genius. She was not even 25 years old, graduated from a third-rate medical school, and started out as a nurse, but she was proficient in ophthalmology, brain surgery, neurology, obstetrics and gynecology, and orthopedics, and she could independently complete the most difficult internal medicine surgery. These amazing statistics really made Professor Feng, who had always been very strict, admire her very much. He even wanted to make an exception and accept her as his disciple. If it were someone else, they would probably be jumping for joy, but Huamin politely rejected him. He had to admit that she was a strange woman. I won't reconsider. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Huamin said. It's okay. Call me when you've thought it through. Professor Feng was still stubborn. Okay. Huamin smiled. After hanging up the phone, she immediately sent a WeChat message to Chin Chu. Honey, I'm going to the capital. She deliberately teased him. Chapter 1067. Jing City. Chin Chu was slightly surprised. He didn't know what Huamin was up to. Yeah, do you remember the professor from the Army General Hospital who removed the bullet from your body? Yeah, I do. Professor Feng called me today. He wants to make an exception for me and take me in as his disciple. He also wants me to go to Jing City to be an army doctor. You agreed? Chin Chu asked. Yeah, why wouldn't I accept such a great opportunity? I'm not stupid. It's not easy to be an army doctor, Huamin purposely replied in all seriousness. Chin Chu didn't say anything, honey. Yeah. Chin Chu seemed a little depressed. Why aren't you saying anything? Are you unhappy? Huamin stuck out her tongue and asked. No. I don't believe you, you're definitely unhappy. I'm really not. If you want to go to Jing City, then go, Chin Chu said calmly. Are you serious? Huamin asked in surprise. Yeah, I'm serious. If that's your dream, then go. I won't stop you. Chin Chu was still calm. Then are we going to live in separate places? Huamin was a little angry. She was just trying to tease him to see his reaction, but when Mr. Chin told her to go, she was unhappy. Women were strange at times. They didn't mean what they said. Even if they didn't mean what they said, they just had to say it. Live in separate places. Who said that? Chin Chu asked word by word. Didn't you say that you're okay with me going to Jing City? If I go and you stay here, then we'll be living in separate places, right? Huamin said angrily. Did I say that I'm going to stay here? Chin Chu asked in return, amused. Then you. Huamin was a little confused. In the end, what was Mr. Chin trying to say? You can go to the capital, but I'll go with you, so why do we have to live apart? You're coming with me. What about GK? Huamin was surprised. To me, you're the most important. Nothing is more important than you. I can leave the company at any time, but Dr. Hua, don't even think about leaving me behind for the rest of your life. Do you understand? Mr. Chin said domineeringly. Huamin's heart warmed. She knew that Mr. Chin didn't like sweet nothings. Of course, he would say whatever he wanted. He never said mushy words of love, but the words he said were 100 times more touching than words of love. Huamin was slightly dazed as he held on to his phone. Honey, why aren't you saying anything? You're not really going to abandon me and go to the capital, are you? Chin Chu asked again. Huamin smiled and replied, abandon you my ass, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to leave here. To me, my career isn't important. A man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. I don't have that many desires. I just want to be with the person I love, do the work I love, and live a normal life. It's that simple. My wife seems like the type to be a good wife and mother. Chin Chu smiled. I'll definitely work hard to be a good wife, but a good mother. Huamin paused as her heart ached. To be honest, Huamin was under a lot of pressure because of the baby. Jiang Xiaowei and Wei Liao got married not long after they met. She and Chin Chu had been together for more than half a year, but nothing happened. No wonder people were gossiping. Even she was starting to doubt herself. Perhaps sensing Huamin's feelings, Chin Chu comforted her. Mian, remember, I didn't marry you to carry on the family line. Whether you have a baby or not, I'll still treat you the same. Don't think too much. Honey, to be honest, you want a baby too, right? Huamin asked sadly. Chapter 1068. Before Chin Chu could finish his sentence, Huamin interrupted him again. Tell me the truth. Don't mind my feelings, I just want to hear what's in your heart, Huamin emphasized again. To tell you the truth, I do, Chin Chu replied word by word. Huamin's heart immediately sank, but, compared to children, I care more about you. It's a shame that we don't have children, but I can't live without you. The reason I want children is because I want you to give birth to them. Mian, to be honest, sometimes I fantasize that we will have a daughter who looks like you. I'll be with her, growing up, going to school with her, being with her when she gets married. Just thinking about that makes me feel touched. But, you have to know that I don't like you because of her, it's because I love you too much. That's why I want her. That's why I can't force this. I believe in fate. If I get it, I'll be lucky. If I don't, it's my fate. You're right, a man whose heart is content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. I'm already satisfied with having you in my life. As for the rest, I'll leave it to fate. After Chin Chu finished speaking, Huamin was extremely touched. She rarely heard Chin Chu say so much at once. For the naturally arrogant Mr. Chin, it was in his nature to be a man of few words. There was only one reason why he could suddenly become so talkative, and that was to persuade Huamin to get over it. That was the most important thing for him right now. Honey. Huamin was a little choked up. Honey, promise me, don't pressure yourself. We'll leave it to fate, okay? Chin Chu's tone was extremely gentle. It was a gentleness that he only showed to Huamin. Thank you, honey, Huamin finally said. After hanging up the phone, Huamin felt a lot more relaxed. Chin Chu's words touched her deeply, as the saying goes, if there's something in life, then there's bound to be something. If there's nothing, then don't force it. It seemed that children really couldn't be forced. Then, as Chin Chu said, let nature take its course. Huamin helped his assistant, Chen Jia, write an application and submit it. He received a few more patients in the afternoon. After a busy day, Huamin got off work in the evening. She was just about to call Chin Chu and ask him what he wanted to eat for dinner. Jiang Xiaowei pushed open the door and walked in. Big sister, am I seeing things? Why are you here? Huamin looked at Jiang Xiaowei in surprise. This woman was really in a rush. She didn't even inform him in advance that she was coming. She was already beyond willful. I knew it was almost time for you to get off work, so I came directly to stop you. Jiang Xiaowei smiled. Professor Jiang, what can I do for you? Huamin stood up, took off his clean white coat, and changed into his own white cotton coat. Come with me to look at clothes and shoes. I've been preparing for my wedding recently, so I have too many things to buy. I'm suddenly having trouble choosing, so I don't have any ideas. That's not a problem. The problem is, do you trust my taste? Huamin looked at her, amused. Huamin felt that her dressing was far worse than Jiang Xiaowei's. Was it too stressful to be her consultant? It's okay, I trust you. Huamin and Jiang Xiaowei then drove to the most luxurious shopping mall in the city. Inside the socialite pavilion, Jiang Xiaowei tried on one item after another, but she still couldn't make up her mind. Huamin gave her suggestions while sweetly texting Chin Chu on WeChat. Just then, a woman walked into the socialite pavilion. Huamin looked up and was surprised when he accidentally glanced over. It was Hui Yanyan, whom he hadn't seen in a long time. Ever since Shenjiani's accident, she didn't seem to be doing well. He heard that she liked Shen Mingxi, but lost to Wei Liao's sister, Wei Ying. Hui Yanyan walked in and asked the attendant awkwardly, "Is that dress on sale?" "I'm sorry, Miss Hua, that's a new design, there's no discount." I see. Hui Yanyan was a bit disappointed. It's not that expensive, it's only 36,000 yuan, the attendant said. Then, can I pay by credit card? Hui Yanyan bit her lip and asked awkwardly. Whoa, who's this? Isn't this the daughter of the Huo family? How come you have to ask for a discount and pay by credit card when buying clothes? Where's your black diamond card? Doesn't your dad love you a lot? What's wrong? Did you fall out of favor? Inside the socialite pavilion, two young women mocked. It seemed like they knew each other. Hui Yanyan turned around and was about to leave when she heard the woman say, You Huas are all bad, you all like to steal men. You stole Wei Ying's, and that illegitimate daughter stole Shishi's. I wonder if GK's President Qin is blind. Upon hearing this, Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Damn it, he was being ridiculed. Chapter 1069. Originally, Huamin didn't want to get involved in Hui Yanyan's business, and he definitely wouldn't do anything about it. After all, the two of them had conflicts in the past. However, not only did these two socialites go overboard, they even insulted Huamin as well. It seemed like they were Song Yisher's people, they even kept calling her Shishir. How shameless were they? That's all they could do at this moment. Jiang Shaowei was changing in the changing room. Huamin stood up and walked over with a smile. You're still young, don't be so impolite. You might get what you deserve. Who are you? Obviously, these two socialites didn't know who Huamin was. What a coincidence. I'm from the Huo family. I'm the one that you said President Qin likes, but isn't as good as Shishir. How dare you eavesdrop on us, how shameless. One of the women cursed. Ah, you flatter me, I'm nowhere near as shameless as you guys. After all, people like you who gossip behind people's backs are the ones with the thickest skin, Huamin sneered as he glanced at them. Who are you talking about, woman? One of the women was furious. I'm talking about you guys, so what? Huamin looked at them provocatively. Haha, the women of the Huo family are the poorest. Did you see that? Hui Yanyan can't even afford clothes, it's only 30,000 yuan, and she's asking for a discount. What a joke. And you, I can tell that you're poor just by looking at the cheap cotton jacket you're wearing. One of the women couldn't out-talk Huamin, so she started talking about money. Don't make it sound like you're rich. Huamin retorted. I'm richer than you to begin with, my daddy loves me a lot, the woman said proudly. Ahem, let me interrupt, I want to ask if your daddy is your godfather or your biological father. After Huamin asked this question, even the waitress couldn't help but laugh, she was really too talented. Hui Yanyan looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. She probably couldn't guess why Huamin wanted to help her. What nonsense are you talking about? He's my biological father, he's the chairman of the Jiahe Corporation. The woman was infuriated by Huamin. Jiahe. Wasn't that a company that started from collecting waste products and was now manufacturing steel structures? Oh, so you're a nouveau riche. Huamin lowered his head. Hearing this, Hui Yanyan couldn't help but laugh. That woman instantly felt embarrassed. Shut your mouth. The woman was flustered. There's no point in arguing. How about this, let's play a game. Take out a card and compare the balance on the card. The winner gets to slap the loser. How about that? Huamin looked at the woman with a grin. The two women clearly didn't expect Huamin to make such a weird request, so they were slightly stunned. Then one of them whispered to the other, Lily, don't be afraid of her. Your family is so rich, you have more than 10 million in your card. You'll definitely win. The woman felt that it made sense. She immediately looked up and looked at Huamin confidently. Feeling superior, she said, Sure, don't cry when I hit you. Don't worry, I'm not that cowardly. Huamin was still smiling. At this moment, Hui Yanyan whispered to Huamin, she only has one daughter. Her father dotes on her a lot. She has more than 10 million in her card. Don't compare. Obviously, Hui Yanyan had good intentions. She was afraid that Huamin would lose. I'm fine. Let's wait and see. With that, Huamin waved his hand and called for an attendant. Do you have an ATM here? Huamin asked. Yes, it's at the door. The attendant pointed. Very good. Today, everyone in the store will be our witnesses. We're going to make a bet. Huamin chuckled. I'll go first. I'll make you accept your loss wholeheartedly. With that, the woman took out a supreme black card, walked over, entered the password, and checked the balance. When the balance appeared, she proudly turned around and showed it to everyone. There was more than 38 million in the card. It was indeed a lot. The woman looked at Huamin with contempt. She said, Pauper, it's your turn. I heard that your father is extremely stingy. You and Hui Yanyan must be stingy people too. Huamin didn't say anything. Instead, he took out a business card and walked towards the ATM, with light steps. Chapter 1070. Huamin's movements were very slow. She elegantly inserted the card and entered the password. When the balance appeared in front of everyone's eyes, everyone was stunned. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million, 100 million. Hui Yanyan's mouth also fell open. If she wasn't wrong, Huamin's card should have a balance of 158 million yuan. To be honest, even Huamin herself was shocked. She hadn't checked her balance in a long time and didn't think it would be this much. Every month, Qin Chu's finance department would transfer 1 million yuan into her account. Her salary was relatively low, around 10 or 20,000 yuan, which was nothing compared to Qin Chu's. Before, when Qin Chu willfully transferred her tens of millions, she thought it would be at most 70 or 80 million yuan. She didn't think it would be more than 50 million. This data was heaven-defying, completely heaven-defying. Everyone was dumbfounded. Huamin herself was a bit speechless. Impossible, she faked it. It's impossible for her to have so much. The woman obviously didn't believe her. Your IQ should be overloaded. A bank card can be faked, and the balance can be faked with screenshots, but an ATM can't be faked. It's the country's most authoritative machine, okay? The woman was dumbfounded and couldn't say a word. But how do you have so much money? This doesn't make sense, another socialite clamored. Before Huamin could say anything, Jiang Xiaowei came out of the fitting room. She sneered and said, I have to say, it's amazing that you can live this long with your IQ. Huamin, she's a young lady of GK, Qin Chu's wife. What kind of place is GK? It's one of the biggest conglomerates in the city. Is it surprising that they have 100 million yuan? Idiot. You lost the bet. After speaking, Huamin didn't wait for anyone to react. She walked over and viciously slapped the face of the woman who made the bet with her twice. That woman was dizzy from the beating. I'll emphasize 2 points. First, don't look down on others. Second, no matter how pretty I am, Huamin, I'm still Qin Chu's first wife. No matter how pretty or fairy-like someone else is, she's just a mistress who covets another woman's husband. After saying that, Huamin turned around and returned to Jiang Xiaowei's side. Darling, you look good. She had just beaten someone up, but she was still able to chat and laugh with Jiang Xiaowei. This was Huamin's greatest strength. She would never make a fuss over nothing. She would never make a fuss over nothing. You just wait and see. The woman who was hit cursed angrily. She then ran away. She had lost the bet, so she couldn't say anything even if she was hit. Who asked her to be so unlucky? She scolded Huamin behind his back and even used Song Yisher's name. Recently, the person that Huamin hated the most was Song Yisher. She was so obvious at the party that everyone was disgusted by her. If this woman didn't mention Song Yisher, perhaps Huamin wouldn't have dealt with her so aggressively. That's why people shouldn't be too cocky. Just then, Hui Yanyan walked up to Huamin. She said in a very low voice, "Thank you, for what you did." "Why are you thanking me?" Huamin looked at her strangely. "Thank you for standing up for me and not letting them give me a hard time." "Ha. Miss Hua, you're overthinking things. I didn't do it to help you. I heard her scolding me as well. Although we're not the same kind of people, at least my surname is still Hua. I'm not going to stay silent after being scolded like that," Huamin explained. Hui Yanyan lowered her head and didn't say anything. Then, without buying any clothes, she left in a hurry. Hui Yanyan's been having a hard time lately. Everyone kicks her when she's down. When she was doing well, she used to have a lot of bad friends. Now, she's become like this. It's quite unbelievable. Jiang Shaowei sighed. Every dog has its day. Every dog has its day. She used to be so cocky when she was doing well, so it's not surprising that she's like this now. However, I won't step on her again. That's not something I would do, Huamin said quietly. I know. Although Mian doesn't suck up to those in power, she won't kick someone when they're down either. Jiang Shaowei smiled. The two of them were chatting happily when they suddenly heard a woman's voice, "Young Master Su, the clothes in this shop are so beautiful. Can you wait for me? I want to try a few outfits." Jiang Shaowei and Huamin both looked over at the same time. They saw Su Yu and a woman walking in. Chapter 1071. It was late winter, so Su Yu was only wearing a white cotton jacket. At first glance, he matched Huamin's outfit very well, as if they were a couple. After the party, Huamin and Su Yu did not interact at all. Huamin originally thought that the next time she would see Su Yu would be at their wedding ceremony on New Year's Day. She did not expect to see him again so soon. The woman who came in with Su Yu was about 25 or 26 years old. She was wearing a white mink coat and was quite good-looking. She was at least 1.7 meters tall. The two of them walked in one after the other. The woman went straight to the clothing area, took a few pieces of clothing, and went to the fitting room. As Hui Yanyan was leaving, she bumped into Su Yu at the door. If it was in the past, Hui Yanyan would have stuck on him like a dog's skin ointment. However, it was different now. After going through so much, Hui Yanyan already knew the fickleness of human nature and the fickleness of the world. In the past, when she chased after Su Yu did not even look at her. Now that she was in such a state, Su Yu would definitely not pay attention to her. Therefore, she lowered her head and quickly left the place. In reality, Su Yu never paid attention to people he did not care about. He had seen Hui Yanyan a few times, but he could not remember what she looked like. Therefore, when they brushed past each other at the door, Su Yu did not recognize Hui Yanyan either. However, he recognized Huamin from afar as soon as he entered the door. She was also wearing a white cotton jacket. Not far away, she was chatting with Jiang Shaowei about something. She even had a smile on her face. Every time he saw Huamin smile, Su Yu would feel sweet in his heart. He did not know if this was a kind of illness. If it was the previous Su Yu, when he saw Huamin, he would definitely excitedly go up to Huamin and say, "You don't like me." This is a kind of illness that needs to be treated, definitely treated. However, it was different now. Ever since he saw that Huamin was willing to give up her life for Qin Chu, he had completely lost his confidence. However, his feelings for Huamin had never changed. He only buried the deeper feelings deep in his heart. When Su Yu came in and saw them, he smiled. Then he walked over to greet them. "You guys are here too. What's up with Lord Su? Who's that woman?" Jiang Shaowei asked in annoyance. Su Yu's relationship with Su Yu's, and Su. She's my blind date. Su Yu looked around awkwardly. It was very unnatural. He did not dare to look into Huamin's eyes. He was afraid that he would see mockery and contempt in her eyes. However, that was not the case. Huamin did not have any expectations for Su Yu. She would not casually judge him just because he was with someone. However, Jiang Shaowei looked at him in surprise. No way. Blind date. Was this for real? How can you be so low? Jiang Shaowei looked at Su Yu in confusion. I can't help it. My grandfather asked someone to introduce her to me. Su Yu continued to feel awkward. For some reason, he felt uncomfortable admitting that he was on a blind date in front of Huamin. Oh, is it because of last time? Before Jiang Shaowei could finish her sentence, Su Yu interrupted her. No, it's nothing. You guys go ahead. I'll go and see her first. After speaking, Su Yu turned around and left. It could be said that he was running away. Hey, don't be late for the wedding. You're Wei Liao's best man, right? Jiang Shaowei reminded him. I know. I'll be on time. Su Yu waved his hand without looking back. After Su Yu went to the other side, Huamin looked at Jiang Shaowei and asked, slightly, Su Yu's blind date, does it have something to do with me? Why do you think so? Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. In her heart, she was impressed by Huamin's keen insight. Because Su Yu ran away before you could finish your sentence. I'm guessing he's trying to escape from something. Huamin guessed. Then he doesn't want you to know. You don't have to ask. Jiang Shaowei took her clothes and walked to the bar with Huamin. Wrap all of these up. Okay. The waitress immediately nodded. But I want to know what happened. Tell me, just slightly. You know, I don't want to owe Su Yu anymore. Huamin said slowly and sadly. Why don't you want to owe him? Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin. Her eyes flashed slightly. Chapter 1072. Because I'll never be able to repay what I owe him. Huamin said in a low voice. She was different from Qin Chu. She had chosen Qin Chu to be her life partner, so she could repay whatever Qin Chu did for her. However, Su Yu was different. No matter how much he had done for her, there was no way she could repay him. She would never be able to repay what she owed him. This was what Huamin was most worried about. Jiang Shaowei looked at her and felt that what she said made sense. Tell me, or else I'll feel even more uneasy. Huamin insisted again and again. Jiang Shaowei was silent for a moment before she slowly said, at that time, Su Yu negotiated with his grandfather in order to get a military doctor for you. You know that military doctors can't be used at will. Even if it's the head of a military region, he has to have a transfer order. Su Yu was so willful that Master Lord Su was furious. The grandfather and grandson had a big argument. In the end, Su Yu compromised and Master Lord Su finally sent the best military doctor. However, Su Yu agreed to his grandfather's request for a blind date. You know how he is, so it really made things difficult for him. Jiang Xiaowei actually didn't like Su Yu at all in the past. She felt that he was a playboy who always had feelings for women. She guessed that he was only interested in Huamin for a while. After the novelty wore off, he wouldn't be like that anymore. However, after she got together with Wei Liao, she knew more about the inside story. Su Yu's feelings for Huamin were not as simple as just liking her. Just like what he said before, liking someone was unbridled, while love was restrained. Su Yu was now trying her best to restrain herself so as not to cause trouble for Huamin. Her overt adoration had already turned into a silent one-sided love. With Su Yu's identity, it was still very shocking to do such a thing. Wei Liao once told her that Su Yu was actually a very sentimental person. He was unwilling to change the nanny at home, and he kept the pets until they died. He even kept the phones that he used. The more time passed, the more reluctant he was to part with them, and the more sentimental he became. Therefore, once she set her heart on Huamin, she would probably be stubborn for the rest of her life. At first, Jiang Xiaowei didn't believe it. She thought that Wei Liao was still praising Su Yu because they were buddies. He was still watching. That was really the case. After listening to Jiang Xiaowei's words, Huamin's heart sank. Sure enough, he owed Su Yu another favor. Back then, she returned the bullet to Su Yu with a heart of death. However, she didn't expect that after waking up, Su Yu would put it back by her pillow. So that's how it is. It really has something to do with me, Huamin said faintly. Don't feel too burdened. We all know how he feels about you. He still doesn't want to see anything happen to you. It's understandable, Jiang Xiaowei comforted. Huamin didn't say anything else as he left Socialite House with Jiang Xiaowei. Remember to come early for the wedding. You were supposed to be the bridesmaid, but Su Yu is the best man, and I was afraid that Qin Chu would think too much, so I didn't want you to be the bridesmaid. I don't have any good friends, so I asked Lingling to be the bridesmaid, Jiang Xiaowei explained. You don't have to say much, I understand. Huamin and Xiaowei had a tacit understanding. She didn't want to be the bridesmaid and didn't want to have too much interaction with Su Yu. It was right not to share the same stage. That was the plan from the beginning, however, who knew that the plan wouldn't change so quickly. On the morning of New Year's Day, Qin Chu didn't go to the wedding because he wanted to prepare for the staff meeting. Instead, he asked Huamin to bring his blessings to Jiang Xiaowei. Seeing that Qin Chu said this, Huamin didn't try to persuade him. Because Qin Chu, Wei Liao, and Tang Chuan weren't on the same side. However, Gao Ran was different. He was the one who introduced Huamin and Jiang Xiaowei to each other. Therefore, Gao Ran drove Zhu Lingling over early in the morning. Zhu Lingling wore a bridesmaid dress, which was a rare sight. It was a tube top and a white veil. Gao Ran looked at her with a smile. I didn't expect you to look so good in a white veil. I look good in many ways. Zhu Lingling replied proudly and prepared to get out of the car. Suddenly, her expression changed and she shouted, "Oh my God, no way, what's wrong?" Seeing that Zhu Lingling's body stiffened, Gao Ran asked anxiously. Chapter 1073. Zhu Lingling didn't expect something like this to happen on such an important day, especially in front of Gao Ran. It was so embarrassing. What's wrong? Gao Ran was worried sick. She didn't want to tell him, so he was worried sick. Zhu Lingling raised her hand and looked at Gao Ran. Her face was red as she slowly said, My period came. Gao Ran was speechless when he saw her crying face. Gao Ran didn't know what to say. Was there anything scarier than a girl having her period? So, what should I do now? Gao Ran asked dumbly. Zhu Lingling was so embarrassed. She remembered that her period was supposed to come around the 5th. Why did it come 5 days early? It was killing her. Can you help me buy that? Zhu Lingling wanted to dig a hole in the ground to hide after she said that. Okay, that supermarket sells it, right? Gao Ran was still confused. Zhu Lingling nodded shyly. Gao Ran immediately parked his car next to the supermarket and got out of the car sneakily. As a police officer, he was never this scared, even when he was arresting criminals. However, he was terrified this time. What do you want to buy? The supermarket girl looked at Gao Ran sneakily. Her attitude was very bad. They sell it, right? Gao Ran said in a low voice. Which one? The girl was a bit impatient. The one that women use. Gao Ran lowered his head. It's on the last shelf. See for yourself. When Gao Ran came back, Zhu Lingling's face was already very pale. Are you okay? Gao Ran asked worriedly. Every time my period comes, it hurts like hell, just like Huamin. Both of us used to like to eat cold food, so now we're suffering 7 days a month. I'm really going to die. Zhu Lingling covered her stomach with both hands, looking like she was in great pain. Then, what should we do? Gao Ran was a little confused. He didn't know how to help her. Let's go to the hotel first. I'm going to change into a dress. This is definitely dirty. Zhu Lingling said dejectedly. Gao Ran nodded and got in the car. Jiang Shaowei's wedding was held at the 5-star Wanjing International Hotel. Because the hotel was owned by the Wei family, it didn't cost any money. Wei Liao's family was quite influential in the city. As a young tycoon, Wei Liao was as famous as Su Yu and the others. They were ranked as one of the 4 young masters, so the scene would definitely be very grand. Zhu Lingling was very happy that Jiang Shaowei invited her. She and Jiang Shaowei met through Huamin. Although they hadn't been suffering from insomnia for long, it was rare for them to get along. Therefore, she specially prepared a bridesmaid dress for herself. Unfortunately, it was dirtied by the surprise attack of Aunt Flo. In short, she was in a very bad mood. After arriving at the hotel, Zhu Lingling rushed to the bathroom to change. He waited for a long time, but she still didn't come out. Gao Ran was so anxious that he wanted to rush into the ladies' room. Luckily, just as Gao Ran was about to take action, Zhu Lingling walked out shakily. She looked terrible. You look very serious. Gao Ran looked at her. Nonsense, if you were bleeding so much, you would be in serious condition too, Zhu Lingling retorted worriedly. Then what should we do? The ceremony is about to start. Gao Ran looked at his watch and was a little troubled. I don't think I can make it, the dress is too small, and the skirt is too short. What if I leak when I'm bleeding so badly? Plus, our custom here is that if someone's on their period can't be a bridesmaid, it's bad luck. Wouldn't I be putting Shaowei in a bad spot? Zhu Lingling looked worried. How about, you let Huamin take your place? Gao Ran suddenly said. Zhu Lingling raised her head and looked at Gao Ran with a complicated expression. Chapter 1074. Will it work? Zhu Lingling didn't seem to think that this was a good idea. Other than Huamin, there's no one else. As far as I know, Jiang Shaowei only has you two as her friends, and only you two are familiar with the international process. If it's a stranger now, it might mess up, Gao Ran analyzed calmly. But Su Yu is the groom. Shaowei only asked me to avoid suspicion, Zhu Lingling reminded him. She's just worried that Qin Chu will be angry. That's fine, we can tell Qin Chu. The point is, you definitely can't be the bridesmaid. We can't interfere with their wedding. Hearing Gao Ran's words, Zhu Lingling felt that it made sense. In the end, she could only nod and agree. When they found Huamin, it was almost 9 p.m. The ceremony started at 9:30 p.m., and time was tight. Huamin was easy to talk to, and after understanding the situation, he agreed immediately. Gao Ran was worried that Qin Chu would think too much, so he specially called Qin Chu. In fact, although Qin Chu was jealous and cared about Huamin, he wasn't unreasonable. No one could predict this kind of thing, so Qin Chu agreed on the spot without hesitation. Zhu Lingling washed the dirty corner of the gown and handed it to Huamin. Needless to say, Huamin looked really beautiful in the white gown. First of all, she was very thin and had a good waist. Second of all, she was very white, so she looked even more beautiful in the white gown. Her hair was casually draped over her shoulders and curled up naturally. Her face was very light nude makeup. When Huamin walked into the VIP lounge in the white gown. Inside, Jiang Xiaowei, Wei Liao, and Su Yu were all dumbfounded. Mian, why are you here? This was the place where the groomsmen and bridesmaids discussed the wedding. So when he saw Huamin, he was naturally very surprised. Especially Su Yu, it was the first time he saw Huamin wearing a white veil. He felt like he was dreaming, seeing Huamin walking towards him in her white veil. Su Yu felt his heartbeat quicken and his breathing quicken. He just stared blankly at Huamin. Lingling's situation is special, so she can't be the bridesmaid. I'll do it. Huamin explained with a smile. Ah, so sudden. But it's starting in half an hour. Wei Liao was still worried. It's okay. She told me the process. I won't mess it up. Huamin looked at Xiaowei and Wei Liao, full of confidence. Yes, I believe you. Xiaowei was very happy to have Huamin as her bridesmaid. Then, she asked, where's Qin Chu? He didn't come. He's very busy at work, so my family sent me to represent. Huamin continued to chuckle. Oh. Jiang Xiaowei finally relaxed. Okay then, we'll go up as soon as the ceremony starts. Thank you for your hard work. Jiang Xiaowei intimately held on to Huamin's hand. Wei Liao turned around and saw that Su Yu was still staring straight at Huamin. So, he coughed softly and said, Lord Su, are you awake? Ha! What did you say? Su Yu finally came back to his senses. I said, are you awake? Wei Liao laughed. I didn't sleep at all. Don't tease me, okay? Su Yu could tell that Wei Liao was teasing him and immediately retorted. Then I'll have to trouble the two of you. There's still 15 minutes left. Go touch up your makeup a little. I'll go check on the MC. After speaking, Wei Liao held on to Jiang Xiaowei's hand and left the waiting room. Only Huamin and Su Yu were left in the room. The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. This is the first time I've seen you wear a white dress. Su Yu looked up at Huamin and said in a serious tone. This is Lingling's dress. It doesn't fit me very well, Huamin replied with his head lowered. No, it's super beautiful. Su Yu said anxiously. Then, he realized that he was speaking the wrong way and immediately corrected himself. You look good in it too, ha. He turned his head away, not daring to look into Huamin's eyes. Su Yu. Huamin gently called out his name. He suddenly felt that this was the most gentle voice in the world. Yes. He looked up. I'm especially grateful for the military doctor. You've had to go through a lot to help me. Huamin respectfully bowed to Su Yu after he finished speaking. He looked especially formal. With this, Su Yu started to panic. Chapter 1075. I told you it's nothing. Don't bow like I'm dead. Seriously. Suyu felt very uncomfortable when she saw Huamin acting like this. Qin Chu and I are very grateful to you for lending us a helping hand when we were on the brink of death. Also, I heard that you sacrificed a lot to help us. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know that you've never lacked anything since you were young, so I don't think there's anything you can ask me for. If, and I'm saying if, in the future, if I ever need help, just ask. I, Huamin, will definitely do my best to help. Huamin's magnanimous words were from the bottom of his heart. These weren't empty words, nor were they out of courtesy. She really wanted to have the chance to repay Suyu's kindness. Okay. I just hope that when I go to Southside in the future, Dr. Huo will go easy on me. Suyu joked. Huamin burst out laughing as well, thinking back to Suyu's days at Southside. It was quite interesting. They bickered and fought all day, but in the end, they became friends. Just then, the host pushed open the door and walked in. Are you the best man and maid of honor? She asked. We are, the two of them replied. Good, then get ready, it's about to start. Okay. Huamin nodded. Suyu nodded as well, and then the two of them walked out of the lounge. The Wei family's banquet had hundreds of tables. The largest hall on the second floor of the hotel was filled with people. Each table had 8 people, densely packed together. It was said that the standard banquet cost 88,000 yuan per table. There were 18 famous dishes, including double-headed abalone and Boston lobster that were flown in from abroad. They were extremely luxurious. The Wei family spent tens of millions on this banquet alone. They really put in a lot of money. It was obvious that the witch, Jiang Shaowei, had already subdued the 2 elders of the Wei family. Just then, the countdown began, the wedding march started playing. Following the host's opening remarks, Huamin helped Jiang Shaowei, who was dressed in a splendid wedding dress, onto the stage. After that, Huamin stood behind Jiang Shaowei and did not steal the show. Next, let's welcome today's male lead onto the stage. Along with the explosive music, Wei Liao walked onto the stage in a black slim-fit suit. From this perspective, both of them were very good-looking. Huamin didn't pay much attention to Wei Liao, but today, he suddenly realized that Wei Liao was also a handsome guy. Needless to say, Jiang Shaowei was a beauty with canine teeth when she smiled. She was a beauty who could transform into a tigress when she was fierce. Groom, today is the most important day of your life. Are you happy to marry such a beautiful and gentle bride? The host asked. Very happy. Wei Liao smiled. Okay, if you're happy, then hurry up and propose. You know how to propose, right? You don't need me to tell you, right? I know, Wei Liao said with a smile as he knelt down on one knee in front of Jiang Shaowei. He handed her the bouquet in his hand, then held the microphone with his other hand and said, Honey, will you marry me? From now on, what's mine will be yours, and what's yours will still be yours. Let's work together to eat and sleep. From today onwards, our family of 3 will officially become the closest people in the world. After Wei Liao finished speaking, the audience began to whisper to each other. He had exposed the baby in Jiang Shaowei's womb. Wei Liao's parents beamed with joy, and the 2 elders of the Jiang family nodded in satisfaction. Jiang Shaowei couldn't help but smile as she took the bouquet. Then, she reached out to help Wei Liao up with a blissful smile on her face. The audience burst into thunderous applause. I heard that you 2 got married in a flash, the host asked. That's right. Wei Liao nodded. I heard that today's groomsmen and bridesmaids are your matchmakers. Come, let's welcome the groomsmen and bridesmaids, the host said fluently. Huamin walked up from behind, and Suyu also walked up the stage. The audience once again burst into thunderous applause. At the dining table, Song Yisher sneered, "How can a married woman be a bridesmaid? What a joke." Chapter 1076. Song Yisher also attended Wei Liao and Jiang Shaowei's wedding. The truth was, she didn't want to come, but her mother insisted. She said that the Wei family was a prestigious family in the city, so they had to get along well. Although her father was the mayor, she was also closely related to the rich. To be honest, Song Yisher really hated Jiang Shaowei. Because she had been tricked by her several times. Moreover, it was the kind that couldn't be said out loud. However, she thought about it carefully and still decided to come. After all, their interactions on Weibo made their fans think that they were close. Song Yisher always liked to pretend to be a lady and wouldn't fight with anyone in public, so she had to maintain her image. Therefore, she took a photo of Jiang Shaowei from afar and posted 8 selfies, making a total of 9. After she collected them, she immediately posted them on her WeChat friends circle and Weibo. She wrote, "Dear Slightly, you must be happy forever. I'm happy for you, I'm touched by you." After the post was posted, the fans began to fantasize again. "Goddess, why didn't you post a photo of you and Dr. Jiang? Song Goddess, why aren't you the bridesmaid? Why is it a young lady Qin who is already married? That's weird. Aren't you more suitable? Sister Song, are you afraid that you won't be able to get married as a bridesmaid? Ha, you didn't even go up on stage. What a pity, I think you'll look like in a white dress. Young Master Wei and Dr. Jiang are so compatible. They're so handsome. Today is a good day. The whole city is paying attention to the Wei family's wedding. There's even a live broadcast on TV. They're not celebrities, they're even better than celebrities. The power of a rich family is immense." Song Yisher scrolled through the post and felt that these people were all idiots. She ignored them and continued to watch the ceremony. Suyu and Huamin were asked to go up on stage and seemed a little nervous. It was Suyu's first time being a groomsman. Only Wei Liao and Tang Chuan had the honor to ask him to be a supporting role. Although Huamin had been Lu Xiying's bridesmaid before, she was still nervous today. After all, there were too many people and the live broadcast was too grand. Below the stage, Hua Xiqin looked at Huamin with a deep gaze. "My little sister Mian, you're so beautiful today." After knowing her for so many years, this was the first time he saw Huamin wearing a white veil. Her legs were slender, and she looked extremely cute in her little heels. His eyes never left Huamin. He didn't even listen to the host's lines. "I heard that the 2 newlyweds were able to get married because of you." The host asked Suyu with a smile. "You can say that," Suyu replied modestly. "Lord Su, can you tell us what happened?" "I can't tell you the details, it's a secret. Otherwise, Wei Liao will kill me, but I can tell you that they got together after drinking." Then, there was an unforgettable video. Suyu wanted to laugh when he thought about how Wei Liao lost to him after drinking and ran around naked in his underwear. Ahem. "Lord Su, take it easy," Wei Liao reminded him. "Bridesmaid, can you tell us what kind of video it was?" Seeing that Suyu wasn't willing to tell, the host glanced at Huamin. "Well, it can only be understood, not explained." Huamin also played word games. "If you won't tell us, then fine." In the next segment, let's invite the bridesmaids and groomsmen to perform together to express our gratitude to them. We thank them for making Mr. and Mrs. Wei a happy marriage. Then, the audience applauded again. Huamin was a little confused. This wasn't part of the process. Was this host playing a live show at the last minute? There were so many people in the audience, how could he refuse? Even if he didn't want to give face to others, he had to give face to Jiang Shaowei. Suyu knew that Huamin was singing off-key, so he didn't give her a hard time. He only said, "You can decide what we perform, I'll listen to you." Huamin was put in a difficult position. Sing, off-key. No. Dance, intimate. No. In the end, Huamin blurted out, "Suyu, why don't we play a duet?" He had seen Suyu play the piano before, so he boldly suggested this. "I'm okay with anything, I'll listen to you." Suyu nodded. "What song would you like to play?" the host asked with a smile. Chapter 1077. To be honest, Suyu was quite surprised that Huamin suggested a four-hand duet. However, he was also ecstatic. The memory of seeing Huamin play Don Juan at the Christmas party last time shocked Suyu to the core. He didn't even dare to imagine that he could play a four-hand duet with Huamin one day. What kind of happiness would that be? "What song do you want to play?" "Richard Clayderman's Wedding in a Dream is very nice." "Do you guys want to play it?" the host suggested. Huamin shook his head. "That song isn't suitable for a wedding. It has a sad story behind it, so we can't play it." The host smiled awkwardly. "Suyu, what do you know?" Huamin looked at him and asked. "I'm good with anything, you decide." Suyu was so excited that he didn't know what to think. "Wang Li hums I Still Love You." Huamin asked tentatively. "No problem." Suyu could basically play anything, as long as he had the music score. Wei Liao was also excited when he heard that Huamin wanted to play this song. "I like this song too. Why don't you two play it, and we'll sing? Is that okay?" "Hey, that's a good idea. The four of us can work together." Jiang Xiaowei also agreed. In the end, Huamin and Qin Chu quickly walked over to the piano and sat down on either side of it. Jiang Xiaowei and Wei Liao both picked up their microphones. "Next, let's welcome the groomsmen and bridesmaids to play I Still Love You. The bride and groom will sing live. Everyone, please give them a round of applause." After the host finished speaking, the audience once again erupted in applause. Huamin glanced at Suyu and gave him a hint with his eyes. Then, smooth music began to play. Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei also sang, "Twinkle, twinkle, leave behind the traces of time, the center of my world is still you, the years fly by in the blink of an eye. The only thing that never changes is constantly changing. I'm not who I used to be, and you're not who you are. But in my eyes your smile is still beautiful, days can only go forward in one direction, clockwise. I don't know how long love will last, so I have to let you know me still loving you is the only way out. I still cherish every moment of happiness, every breath you take, every movement you make, every expression you make. Will still love you till the end." Suyu played while looking at Huamin beside him. His gaze was extremely affectionate and gentle. She was so close to him. He played the piano seriously, and his fingers danced quickly on the keys. Just her side profile was enough to make Suyu unable to extricate himself. He was mesmerized by her. Huamin was not the most beautiful girl, but she was the most irresistible. He had never had such a strong feeling before her. He didn't even want to continue playing. He just wanted to pounce over. He wanted to hug Huamin tightly. Suyu and Huamin were so good at playing that they were in sync with each other. It was like the sound of nature. Jiang Xiaowei and Wei Liao were also microphone hogs. Although their singing wasn't as good as professional singers, it wasn't bad either. Everyone was mesmerized by their performance. Huamin kept her head down and played the piano seriously. She didn't look at Suyu, and she didn't dare to look at Suyu, because she could already feel the burning gaze next to her. At this moment, Song Yisha recorded a video on her phone and sent it to Qin Chu's phone. She didn't have WeChat, so she sent it to his mailbox. Question mark. Qin Chu only replied with a question mark. Qin Chu, did you know that Huamin is today's bridesmaid? Song Yisha asked. I know, Qin Chu replied coldly. She's playing a duet with Suyu right now, and everyone thinks that they're a couple. I think that Huamin is a bit too much, and it's not fair to you. Do you want to come over and watch? Song Yisha asked again. Chapter 1078. We don't need outsiders to interfere in our business. Qin Chu replied coldly, immediately shutting Song Yisha up. She didn't expect Qin Chu to say that. She thought that Qin Chu would be angry and teach Huamin a lesson. However, instead of complaining, she was slapped in the face. Song Yisha immediately withered. After the song ended, the audience gave them the warmest applause. Su Yu and Huamin played well, Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei also sang well. Everyone enjoyed a feast of visual and auditory sensations. After Su Yu left the stage, he still seemed to be in a daze. This might be the most unforgettable piano piece he had ever played in his life. Because of Huamin and his four-hand duet. To him, this was the highest honor. Then, the host began to tease the two newlyweds. The bride and groom, please stand back to back. Huamin supported Jiang Xiaowei and helped her hold up the long hem of her dress. Then, he hid to the side. The two newlyweds, please raise your wine glasses, the host instructed. Because Jiang Xiaowei was pregnant, the wine in her glass wasn't wine. Wei Liao's glass was real red wine. Next, I'll ask you a question. If you think it's right, take a sip. Then, the host asked loudly, those who think they're good-looking, take a sip. Jiang Xiaowei and Wei Liao both raised their glasses and took a sip. However, because their backs were facing each other, they didn't see each other's movements. Okay, those who are willing to do the housework after marriage, take a sip. Jiang Xiaowei didn't move at all. Wei Liao hesitated for 3 seconds before taking a sip. Wei Ying burst into laughter. Look at my second brother's useless face. It's so funny. It seems like everything has its weakness. Second sister-in-law has to deal with him. Wei Ying laughed. Those who want to be the head of the family after marriage, take a sip. Jiang Xiaowei immediately took a sip. Wei Liao raised his hand and wanted to drink it, but he didn't dare. He was really afraid that Xiaowei would chop him up when she watched the wedding video. Ask him to kneel on a durian or something. In the end, Wei Liao did not dare to drink it. What the fuck? I really look down on Master Wei. He doesn't even have the guts to fight for it. Tang Chuan cursed under his breath. Take a sip when you wash your clothes and take care of your children after marriage. Jiang Xiaowei remained motionless as if it had nothing to do with her. After hesitating for 2 seconds, Wei Liao picked it up and took another sip. Everyone burst into laughter. The Wei parents also knew that this was just a joke by the host, so they weren't angry. It added quite a bit of atmosphere to the scene. When you're in love, take a sip when you're on top and 2 when you're on the bottom. After the host said this, the entire audience burst into laughter. Even someone as calm as Huamin couldn't help but laugh. This is fucking awkward. I suspect that this host has a grudge against Master Wei for killing his father. He's really going to play him to death, ha ha ha. Tang Chuan laughed devilishly. At this moment, Wei Liao took a sip and Jiang Xiaowei took 2 sips. Originally, Huamin thought that since Slightly was so domineering, she would probably choose to be on top with the man on the bottom. However, to his surprise, she didn't. Later, Huamin and Jiang Xiaowei were chatting. She had asked her this question before. Slightly, why weren't you on top during the wedding? You don't seem like someone who's willing to be on the bottom. Because the person on the bottom doesn't need to work, and the person on top is too fucking tired. Jiang Xiaowei's godly reply made Huamin speechless for 10 seconds. As expected of a doctor, everything she said made sense. After messing with the newlyweds, the host turned on his romantic mode. Jiang Xiaowei and Wei Liao both said their vows. Then, they exchanged rings. After Huamin was done, she tiredly took off her white veil and put on an elegant yellow dress before walking off the stage. She wasn't sure if it was because she was too tired, or because she was too nervous. She lost her balance and fell down. Suyu reacted quickly and immediately rushed up to support her. This was the first time Suyu touched Huamin's hand other than when they shook hands. He was so nervous that his face turned red. "Your face is so red." Huamin looked at him in confusion. After she said this, Suyu's face turned even redder. Chapter 1079. I'm actually feeling so hot. Don't you think it's hot in the house? Suyu asked with a red face. I don't think so. The air conditioner is very good. Huamin didn't give Lord Su any face and kept undermining him. Suyu supported Huamin for a moment and immediately let go. However, this scene was still captured by Song Yishe. She knew that Suyu was interested in Huamin, so she kept trying to catch him. She actually bumped into him. She excitedly sent another short video to Qin Chu. Qin Chu was currently in a meeting with the higher-ups in the conference room. Everyone was discussing the plan for the New Year's Day staff meeting. President Qin. I think it's a good idea for us to travel. We can go to the Yunding Mountain Resort under our own company. During this season, we can go to the hot springs and relax. A department manager suggested. Qin Chu listened quietly and felt that it made sense. Before she could say anything, she saw Song Yishe send her another photo. It was still in the form of a text message. In the photo, Suyu was holding Huamin's hand. They looked very intimate. If it was someone else who sent it, he might be a little jealous. But if it was Song Yishe, it was a different story. Because of Song Yishe, Qin Chu felt that she had ulterior motives. In the past, because she was Mayor Song's daughter, he would give her some face. Later, he found out that she was shameless. After moving out of Imperial Park, she was still haunting him. When he saw the message just now, he didn't want to talk to her. However, when he saw the video of Huamin playing the piano, he was quite surprised. So, he replied to Song Yishe with a question mark. He didn't know why she sent this. In the end, Song Yishe acted like a villain. She actually complained about Huamin and Suyu. He was so angry that he directly poured cold water on her. He didn't expect her to be so forgetful and send him a message. Qin Chu looked at the photo and his expression didn't change. He only did one action and blocked Song Yishe. In other words, Song Yishe couldn't text or call Qin Chu anymore. President Qin, what do you think? The department manager asked again. Okay, we'll do as you say, Yunding Mountain. Then, Qin Chu stood up and left the conference room. After Huamin changed, he didn't sit down with Su Yu's table. S. Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, and some other guests. Su Yu, Tang Chuan, Shen Mingxi, and Wei Ying sat together with the super-rich heirs. Lord Su, the four-hand duet just now, not bad, the song's name is good too. Still love you. Tang Chuan teased. Shut up and eat, why are you talking so much? Lord Su lowered his head and ate quietly. Thinking about the four-hand duet just now and how he accidentally touched Huamin's hand, he felt extremely happy. The truth was, he had to thank Zhu Lingling for this opportunity. He also had to thank Zhu Lingling's Aunt Flo. Otherwise, Huamin wouldn't have come on stage. Girl, you're awesome, your performance was awesome. Love you. Zhu Lingling was very proud of Huamin. Awesome. I don't know if my Mr. Chin will flip out. Ha, I'm scared. Hua Min laughed. No, your Mr. Chin isn't that petty, Gao Ran comforted him. Sorry, I'm that petty. As soon as the voice rang out, Hua Min, Gao Ran, and Zhu Lingling were all dumbfounded. They turned around and saw that it really was Chin Chu. He was right behind them without making a sound. Honey, why are you here? Hua Min was also surprised. If I didn't come, my wife would have been taken away. Hua Min immediately felt guilty. Are you done eating? Chin Chu asked. Yeah. Hua Min nodded obediently. Did you give her the present? Chin Chu asked again. Yeah, I gave it to her as soon as I got here. Hua Min didn't give Jiang Shaowei a monetary gift. Instead, he gave her a set of jewelry from GK that was worth over 1,000,000 yuan. This was Chin Chu's idea, and it really made Hua Min proud. Since you're done, come home with me, I have something to talk to you about. Then, Chin Chu turned around and left with a serious expression. Oh no, I'm dead for sure. Heroes, please save me. Hua Min looked at Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling for help. She had a feeling that Mr. Chin was about to flip out. Author's note, my babies, the 8th update is only one chapter shorter than usual. Piggy really tried his best. Those who said that I'm super slow probably aren't old fans and don't know how to update. Hee, thank you for your concern. My fever is gone, but I'm still not in good condition. I still feel dizzy and have a runny nose. Chapter 1080. Hua Min looked at Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling pitifully. However, the two of them didn't do anything. What happened to being loyal to their friends? Girl, I don't think anything can happen to you. If we speak up for you, things might get out of hand. Zhu Lingling laughed. Bullshit. You're shirking your responsibility. Hua Min wanted to cry but had no tears. Hua Min, I think Lingling has a point. Don't be scared, you're Chin Chu's only weakness. You're the only one in the world who can control him, so you'll be fine. Don't worry and go. Gao Ran waved his hand as if he wanted to say goodbye to Hua Min. Gao Ran. You're kicking me to the curb after I've outlived my usefulness. I was a temporary bridesmaid to help you guys, you can't just leave me like that. Hua Min felt even more guilty. Hero, go, you'll be fine. If something happens to you, I'll burn incense for you on this day next year, ha ha ha. Zhu Lingling laughed uncontrollably. This was the first time she saw Hua Min so scared of Chin Chu. She was clearly gloating over his misfortune. Fuck, you're an animal, and you. Hua Min pointed at Gao Ran and said angrily. Neither of you are good people. Forget it, if you don't help me, I'll go by myself. Worst comes to worst, I'll take your head and your life. After speaking, Hua Min walked away without looking back. Hey, stinky cop, do you think Chin Chu will really teach me on a lesson? Zhu Lingling was worried. They're just a couple who quarrel at the head of the bed and reconcile at the end of it. Nothing will happen, let's not worry about it. Gao Ran knew Chin Chu well. He was sure that Hua Min would get away with it as soon as he acted cute and coquettish. This was not something they needed to concern themselves with. He and Chin Chu greeted Jiang Shaowei and her husband at the door. The two of them went home together. Along the way, Chin Chu was silent, which made Hua Min even more nervous. Strange. Nothing happened to me, so why do I have a guilty conscience? It's so strange. Hua Min muttered to himself. Chin Chu turned his head to the side and asked, Did you feel good playing a four-hand duet? It's alright, it's not that great. Huamin immediately lowered her head. Damn it, who was the one who sold her out? How did it reach Qin Chu's ears so quickly? Then, do you want something better? Qin Chu continued to ask. Huamin waved his hands repeatedly. No, no. Just then, the car stopped. Qin Chu held on to Huamin's hand as they walked into South Hill Manor. There was a snow-white piano in the living room. The black and white keys were distinctly colored, making it easy to like. Qin Chu held onto her hand and sat down. Honey, what are you doing? Ha! Huamin smiled awkwardly. I heard you're really good at the piano. Can you play Still Love You for me? Ha! Honey, don't be like that. Huamin felt even more guilty. Could it be that he was watching the broadcast? How did he know the song that Su Yu and I played? This is too strange, or did someone really tell him about it? At this thought, Huamin suddenly asked, Honey, who told you about my four-hand duet? Qin Chu looked at Huamin with a serious expression. Dr. Hua, no, I should call you Director Hua now. Can you not change the subject? I'm talking about your piano performance, so don't try to confuse me, okay? Honey. I was wrong. Huamin saw that Qin Chu wasn't going to let her off the hook, so she decided to admit her mistake. What did you do wrong? Qin Chu crossed his fingers and sat in front of Huamin. He looked into her eyes and asked, What did you do wrong? I shouldn't have played a four-hand duet with Su Yu. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she apologized to Qin Chu. What else? Qin Chu continued to ask calmly. Chapter 1081. Also, I shouldn't have been the bridesmaid, I shouldn't have helped Xu Lingling, that disloyal person. Ha! Huamin tried to bluff his way out of this. Director Hua, are you all grown up now? Is that why you don't talk to me before you do anything? Mr. Qin asked aggressively. No, absolutely not. Huamin denied. Then do you think your husband is too weak? Is that why you don't take me seriously? Why are you flirting with other men in public? Do you think I'm dead? Qin Chu purposely asked in a muffled voice. I'm innocent. Mr. Qin, the MC came up with our performance on the spur of the moment. We didn't even have a script. Why would I flirt with you on purpose? You don't have to believe me, but you can't insult my character, okay? After speaking, Huamin angrily turned his head to the side. How about this, play a duet with me, and we'll call it quits, Qin Chu said calmly. What? Is there a problem? Qin Chu purposely asked when he saw Huamin's troubled expression. No, there's no problem. What do you want to play? Tell me. In the end, Huamin decided not to argue with Mr. Qin and obediently surrendered. Therefore, he obediently sat in front of the piano and waited for orders. After 5 seconds of silence, Mr. Qin said, I want you to play Boonie Bears with me. What? Huamin thought he didn't hear him clearly, so he asked again. Boonie Bears, Mr. Qin repeated, word for word. Huamin, after a while, she looked at Qin Chu and said angrily, Qin Chu, are you messing with me? I'm not. I want you to play this with me, okay? Mr. Qin was really stubborn. Okay, I'll do it. But we don't have a score at home, and I can't memorize it, Huamin purposely said. Uncle Li, bring me the score, okay, sir. When Huamin heard this, he went crazy. Wait, Mr. Qin, why do we have a children's song score at home? Did you dig a hole for me? Huamin was a little scared. I bought it a long time ago. It's for the baby. Qin Chu's face was calm. Then Huamin didn't say anything. She and Qin Chu were both sits. Do we really have to do this? Huamian thought it was weird for her to play with Mr. Qin at home basis. You don't have to play, but... Mr. Qin didn't finish his sentence. T-S, Huamian decided to let it go. It was just a Boonie Bears. Why don't I play with you? Qin Chu looked at his wife's conflicted expression and almost laughed out loud. To be honest, it was hard to pretend to be angry with Huamin. Whenever he looked at her, his eyes would subconsciously soften. Let's compete. If you're faster than me, then I won't pursue the matter any further. Qin Chu said in all seriousness. No problem. Huamin didn't think he would lose to Qin Chu in terms of speed. He was full of confidence. Then, he heard Qin Chu say, I have to play 5 seconds faster than you. Why? Huamin was indignant. Because you're the one who's in the wrong and needs to be forgiven, Qin Chu said matter-of-factly. After hesitating for a few seconds, Huamin gritted his teeth and nodded. Deal. If you lose, you'll be the one to play for the next month. Mr. Qin added another condition. Huamin almost had a mental breakdown when he heard this. Mr. Qin was trying to play her to death. Chapter 1082. So, Mr. Hubby, can we still play happily in the future? Huamin wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Qin Chu smirked proudly. Beat me first, then we'll talk about other things. After the 5-second countdown, Qin Chu's slender fingers danced across the piano keys. She had never seen him play the piano before. She only knew that his hands had been studying medicine for 7 years, and that he had signed contracts worth hundreds of millions. She never imagined that one day, he would be able to sit in front of the black and white piano keys like an artist, fluently playing beautiful notes. Even though the song Bonnie Bears was a bit, she had to admit that Mr. Qin looked very handsome when he played the piano. Huamin was stunned. A young lady, it's already been 6 seconds. Uncle Li reminded her out of kindness. Huamin finally remembered that she was competing with Qin Chu. She immediately came back to her senses and chased after him. Huamin looked at the music sheet and played the notes at lightning speed. She didn't care about the music, nor did she have time to appreciate it. She only wanted to beat Qin Chu. However, Qin Chu was insanely fast. If she were to compete with Su Yu or Song Yisher, she would be able to catch up in a matter of minutes. However, Mr. Qin's fingers were insanely fast and accurate. She would lose if she didn't watch. Huamin was so anxious that she started sweating. She almost jumped up from the piano and started playing. Hubby, take it easy, don't go too far, okay? Huamin harassed Mr. Qin as she played the piano. Qin Chu chuckled and ignored Huamin's words. He continued to speed up. In the end, Huamin decided to use her ultimate move and yelled, Hubby, good hubby, good hubby, you're the best hubby in the world. As expected, Mr. Qin took her seriously. Even though he knew that Huamin was flattering him to win, he didn't care. He still enjoyed it. After being praised by Huamin, Qin Chu slowed down. He tilted his head and looked at Huamin. His gaze was as gentle as water. Huamin was secretly pleased. As expected, honey traps and flattery worked well on Mr. Qin. While Qin Chu slowed down, she quickly chased after him. In the end, she beat Qin Chu by 2 notes. One after the other, the two of them ended the match perfectly. A young lady wins, Uncle Li, who was good with music, said seriously. Oh yeah. Huamian got up and made a peace sign with her hands. Qin Chu was as dumb as she could be. If Xu Lingling and Jiang Xiaowei saw her like this, she would definitely scold her for being like a husky. Huamian Chin, so, it seems like you like me more than you do. From now on, you can leave the physical work to me. After speaking, Chin Chu carried Huamin up to the second floor. Ah, put me down, it's daytime. Huamin felt that it was embarrassing for them to be so lovey-dovey in the middle of the night. But what did it have to do with lovey-dovey? In order to refute her, Mr. Chin whispered the softest and most touching words. I like to do it during the day, because I can see your face clearly. This was such a touching sentence. However, Dr. Huas said, that makes sense. That way, you won't mistake me for area next door. Chin Chu, Huamin was definitely on the list of masters at ruining the atmosphere. She was always able to easily spoil the beautiful meaning with one sentence. Luckily, Mr. Chin didn't argue with her. She went upstairs and threw Huamian into the bathtub. Then, Mr. Chin fiercely jumped in as well. Huamin lied in the bathtub and refused to come out. In the end, Chin Chu had to put a towel on her and come out. Huamian wrapped her arms around Chin Chu's neck, her heart filled with happiness. Huamian, I know that you're not angry today, right? You're just teasing me. What else do you know? Chin Chu smiled. I also know that Mr. Chin is like a child when he's jealous. I can't believe he listened to such a childish song, huh? What else? Chin Chu continued to ask. Also, you lost to me on purpose when you were playing the zither, you weren't distracted at all. You just wanted me to win, so you let me win on purpose. Go on. Chin Chu was in a good mood. And us. Before Huamin could finish, Chin Chu's phone suddenly rang. Chapter 1083. Can you answer it for me? Honey, I'm going to blow dry my hair. Chin Chu gently placed Huamin in his arms on the big bed. Then, he turned around and went into the bathroom. Huamin didn't want to answer the phone for Chin Chu because he felt that it would violate his privacy. It was as if he didn't trust him. However, if Chin Chu agreed, it was fine. Huamian rolled over to the bedside table and picked up her phone. The caller ID showed that it was his mother. Huamin hesitated when he thought of Lady Chin, but he still picked it up. Hello. Huamin. Lady Chin immediately asked when she heard a woman's voice. That's me. Where's Chu? Lady Chin's attitude was much better than before. He just came out of the shower and is blowing his hair dry. Do you want to talk to him? I'll get him for you. Huamin was about to get out of bed when he spoke. Oh, it's okay. It's the same if I tell you. Sure just called me. You know who Sure is, right? Mayor Song's daughter. I know, Huamin replied calmly. She said that there was an accident on Heshi Road, but she didn't know what to do. She called Chin Chu but couldn't get through. He's always on the phone, so she asked me to ask him. Oh, I see. I'll tell him in a bit. Okay, tell Chu to go take a look. After all, the two families are close. It's not right to ignore them. Got it. Huamin nodded. Then, Lady Chin hung up the phone. 3 minutes later, Chin Chu walked out of the bathroom in a bathrobe. His short hair was already blown dry. It was clean and fresh. Many people hated cleanliness, so they hated doctors and medical students. However, Huamin didn't think that cleanliness was a bad habit. He liked to clean his house. Wasn't it good that he had good personal hygiene? Who would like to live in a pigsty? The size of the house didn't matter, but at least it had to be clean and tidy. Chin Chu was especially clean, and Huamin appreciated this very much. After Chin Chu got on the bed, he put one hand on Huamin's shoulder. Honey, who's calling? Your mother. What is it? She said that Song Yisher's car broke down on Heshi Road. She couldn't reach you on the phone, so she called your mother. Oh, I blacklisted her, Chin Chu said casually. However, Huamin was quite shocked. What? You blacklisted her? Huamin was stunned. Yes, it's too annoying. Chin Chu was still a man of few words. As for Song Yisher's character, he was too lazy to write a long comment. He could only use 3 words to describe her: too annoying. Although she was surprised by Mr. Chin's actions, she was still a little surprised. However, it had to be said that Huamin was secretly pleased. Mr. Chin was really capricious. The mayor's daughter had blacklisted him without hesitation. She didn't even need to consider who she was giving face to. Mr. Chin's phone was a certain number, so once he blacklisted someone, the only message he would get was, "Sorry, the number you have dialed is busy right now, please try again later." If he called again, he would be on the phone forever. Therefore, Song Yisher naively thought that Chin Chu couldn't reach her because he had too many phones, so she asked Lady Chin for help. Huamin thought that she might have overestimated herself. He didn't expect that her princess would be blacklisted by Chin Chu. Then, what do we do now? Huamin asked again. What do you mean? Chin Chu looked at him in confusion. Song Yisher's car broke down. Huamin reminded him. What does it have to do with me? Mr. Chin said arrogantly. But from what your mom said, it seems like we have to go take a look. After all, she's Mayor Song's daughter. Do I have to spoil the mayor's daughter? Do I look like someone with such a good temper? Mr. Chin rolled his eyes at her. Huamin couldn't help but laugh. She had to admit that Mr. Chin was really cool sometimes. Huamin's sense of superiority increased by 100-fold. She felt as if she was the only one in the world that she loved. Honey, I have an idea. Huamin rolled his eyes and came up with a new idea. What is it? Chapter 1084. We can ask someone from the company to take care of it. That way, people won't talk about it and we won't let her get away with her scheme. Is that necessary? Chin Chu felt that it was impossible to ask someone from the company to take care of it. Was it that important? We still have to save face. We still have to take care of Mayor Song's face slightly. Although Huamin hated Song Yisher to death, she was more considerate of Chin Chu. After all, Mayor Song took good care of the company, so she didn't want to make things too ugly. Plus, Chin Chu's mother just called. If she didn't do anything, what would old Mrs. Song think of her? Old Mrs. Song would definitely think that she was gossiping with Chin Chu again. If that happened, the little bit of relationship they had just built up would collapse. This was one of the things that Huamin was smart about. She would never act rashly without considering the consequences. Every time she did something, she would think of the consequences, including the time when she operated on Chin Chu. She thought of the consequences of her own death. That was why Zhu Lingling said that she was the most rational woman. Jiang Xiaowei said that she was the smartest woman. You don't have to ask me about this, you can make the decision. After Chin Chu finished speaking, he kissed Huamin's forehead gently. Then, he picked up his tablet seriously and looked at the preparation plan for the staff meeting sent by the company. Huamin picked up her phone and made a call. Hello, Yang. I'm Huamin. 20 minutes later, Yang drove his white Volkswagen to Heshi Road. As expected, Song Yisher was still there. She seemed to think that with one call from Lady Chin Chu would definitely come to save the damsel in distress. But when she saw Yang, her mood immediately soured. Why are you here? Song Yisher asked bluntly with a dark expression. Miss Song, I received instructions from the CEO's wife saying that there was a problem with your car here. Is that true? To be honest, Young didn't like to come either, but he couldn't refuse a young lady's orders. The main reason why he didn't like to come was because he wasn't a car mechanic. He really didn't know why Miss Song was so strange. Her car broke down, but instead of finding a professional mechanic, she called the president. Mrs. President. Are you saying that Hwa-min sent you here? Song Yisher's tone was very unfriendly. She didn't need to pretend to be a lady in front of a nobody like Xiao Yang. Yes. What a joke. Who does she think she is? Why did she have to make all the decisions? I want to talk to him. Song Yisher was very angry. She thought that Chin Chu didn't know Hwa-min's actions and wanted to complain. Miss Song, don't you have his number? Yang replied dumbfoundedly. I can't get through. His line has been busy for an hour. Try calling his landline, Song Yisher commanded. That's impossible. Our president's line is never busy at night. Plus, our president doesn't talk much. Basically, he won't talk for an hour, unless he's talking to a young lady. But at this time, they're definitely together, so I want to say, is your phone broken? Yang never thought that he would be so smart and be able to make such good deductions. Song Yisher understood what he meant and her face immediately darkened. She picked up her phone and called Chin Chu's number. Sorry, the number you have dialed is currently busy. She slightly furrowed her brows and looked at Yang. Call him. Quick, call him now. Yang took out his phone and called Hwa-min. However, he quickly hung up after one ring. Miss Song, I can get through. Yang said weakly. So what's going on? Song Yisher had never encountered something like this before, so she didn't quite understand. Our president, he seems to have blacklisted you. Blacklisted? Song Yisher's expression changed drastically. Chapter 1085. Yeah, that's the only explanation. So, Miss Song, did you offend my boss? Yang actually quite liked Miss Song in the beginning. She was pretty and polite. But later on, he realized that she was a little too. No wonder a young lady was jealous. Besides, compared to Miss Song, a young lady was more approachable. She didn't put on airs and even occasionally joked around. Miss Song was different. Although she looked nice on the surface, she was more or less distant. Yang also firmly believed that there was no perfect person in this world, no matter if it was a man or a woman. If she or he appeared too perfect, then it meant that they were hiding some unknown flaw. This type of person was often scarier because they lived in an unreal world. Impossible, it must be Hwa-min. Song Yisher always thought that she should leave a good impression on Chin Chu. He couldn't have been blacklisted without saying a word, right? Could it be that he was angry at her because of the video today? But if he wanted to be angry, he should be angry at Hwa-min. She was the one who didn't follow the rules of a married woman. She was already married, but she still flirted with Su-yu. Why would he blacklist her? Song Yisher couldn't figure it out and was scared. Annoying people never knew how annoying they were. This saying was not an exaggeration when applied to Song Yisher. She didn't look for the reason from herself. Instead, she pushed all the blame to Hwa-min, who had nothing to do with it. Miss Song, let me check your car for you. Yang felt that it wasn't a good idea to just stand there in the cold weather. Song Yisher was different. She waited for more than an hour at a roadside cafe. Even when she came out, she was wearing a white mink coat, which kept her warm. No need, you can go back. Song Yisher coldly refused. Was there really something wrong with her car? The answer was yes. However, the reason why she asked Chin Chu to come was obvious. It was definitely not to repair the car. Moreover, Chin Chu was not a car mechanic. Then there's no need for me, I'll leave now. Yang was overjoyed. Let's go. Wait. Song Yisher suddenly said. What is it? Miss Song. Yang paused. Can I use your phone? Song Yisher stretched out her hand as if it was only natural. Although Yang was reluctant, he didn't refute. She picked up Xiao Yang's phone and dialed Chin Chu's number. As expected, it was Huamin who answered the call. Hello. Huamin. Song Yisher asked. Yes. Hee, thank you for sending someone to help me. You're welcome. You've been so good to me. I'll definitely repay you in the future, Song Yisher said word by word. There's no need for that. You should know that I've never liked you. That's why I don't want to have anything to do with you. If you didn't call my mother-in-law, do you think I would help you? Huamin said directly. Heh, you're so direct. Song Yisher secretly gritted her teeth. I'm a direct person. I don't like scheming. But if you want to play, I'm not afraid of you. However, before you do anything, you should weigh the pros and cons, Huamin warned. What a joke. I'm a high achiever who returned from overseas. Do I need a third-rate university graduate like you to teach me how to be a good person? Song Yisher retorted. Being a good person has nothing to do with education. A lot of Ph.D. students from Kyoto University don't know how to be a good person. Huamin chuckled. I'm not going to talk nonsense with you. Anyway, let's wait and see. Song Yisher hung up the phone. She was certain that Huamin had used Chin Chu's phone to blacklist her. Now, she looked at Huamin as if he had killed her father. Here's your phone. Song Yisher threw the phone to Yang Yang. Yang Yang didn't catch it. The phone fell to the ground and the screen was smashed. Miss Song, I was kind enough to lend you my phone. What are you doing? Yang Yang was very angry when he saw that the woman did it on purpose. Song Yisher glanced at Yang Yang's phone and said with disdain, your phone model doesn't even cost 4,000 yuan. I'll give you 5,000. Go buy a new one. Song Yisher then took out a stack of money from her wallet. She threw the phone on the ground and walked into the coffee shop. Yang Yang stood there. He was so angry that he wanted to curse. What the fuck? He had to meet this crazy woman on such a cold day. After Song Yisher entered the coffee shop, she called Lady Chin again. Then, she cried and didn't say anything. Sure, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Say something. Lady Chin asked anxiously. Mama Chin, can you come over? My car broke down, so I can't go to your house. However, I have something important to say to you. Chapter 1086. Okay, where are you right now? I'll ask the driver to take me there. Lady Chin's heart softened. After all, she had liked Song Yisher for a long time. Even though Chin Chu had his surgery and questioned her words, she still had some feelings for her. 30 minutes later, the Chin family's driver drove Lady Chin to a coffee shop on Heshi Road in a black Bentley. When she walked in, Song Yisher's eyes were red from crying. What's wrong? Why are you crying like this? My child. Lady Chin was quite surprised. Song Yisher had been hanging out with Lady Chin ever since she came back to China. Lady Chin had never seen her cry so hard, so she was quite shocked. Mama Chin, Chin Chu blacklisted me. I suddenly couldn't get through to his phone. Song Yisher said with tears in her eyes. Then, she picked up a tissue and continued to wipe her tears. She tried to make it seem more real. That's impossible, why would Chu blacklist you for no reason? Lady Qin obviously didn't believe her. I don't believe it either, nothing bad happened between Qin Chu and me. At first, I didn't know about it and naively thought that his phone was busy. How stupid am I? Later, I used someone else's phone to call him and found out that I was the only one who couldn't get through. Sob. As Song Yisher spoke, she began to cry again. How could this be? Don't worry, there must be some kind of misunderstanding. I'll call Chu right now and ask him about it. Lady Qin picked up her phone and was about to call, but Song Yisher stopped her. Mrs. Qin, don't be so anxious. Let me finish first. Okay. Lady Qin nodded and put down her phone. After I used someone else's phone to call him, I found out that it was Huamin who picked up. That's when I figured out what was going on. Huamin always thought that Qin Chu and I had a special relationship. She used to give me a hard time, but I patiently explained everything to her. You know, I get along well with Huamin, and I've always treated her as my friend, but I feel like she's really angry this time. She might have blacklisted me behind Qin Chu's back, without Qin Chu knowing. Do you understand what I mean? Song Yisher looked up at Lady Qin and asked. I understand, you're saying that Chu doesn't know that Huamin did this, but why would she do that? Did you guys get into a fight? Lady Qin asked. Although she didn't like Huamin didn't seem like such an extreme person. She wouldn't blacklist Song Yisher, right? She even took Qin Chu's phone. Did she have to do that? That's what I wanted to tell you today. Mama Qin, listen carefully, I'm not trying to scare you, nor am I making up rumors. Huamin has an ambiguous relationship with the CEO of Imperial Star, Su Yu. This morning, they even played a duet at the Wei family's wedding. Her actions are simply outrageous. She didn't care about the Qin family's reputation because she was afraid that I would tell Qin Chu, so she blacklisted me. Song Yisher was amazing. She directly linked the blacklisting and the duet together, and she made it sound as if it were real. That's impossible, right? Lady Qin didn't believe Song Yisher. How could something so ridiculous happen? Without saying anything, Song Yisher took out her phone and showed Lady Qin the video. Mama Qin, this is solid evidence. Take a look at it yourself. Photos can be faked, but videos can't be faked. This is the best evidence. Lady Qin picked it up and looked at it for a long time. Gradually, her expression turned ugly. Actually, I shouldn't have told you this, in case you worry too much. However, this matter is detrimental to Qin Chu and the Qin family's reputation. Mama Qin, you treat me like your own daughter, so I can't keep this from you. Huamin and Su Yu. I'm guessing that you already knew when Qin Chu was hospitalized. Normal people wouldn't be so busy. Luckily, Qin Chu woke up. Otherwise, Huamin would probably be hanging out with Su Yu right now. I really feel bad for Qin Chu. Song Yisher's brainwashing of Lady Qin was amazing. Every word was deadly. Lady Qin was so angry that her face turned ashen, and her fingers trembled slightly. Chapter 1087. Mama Qin, your heart isn't very good, and your blood pressure is high. Don't get too agitated. Song Yisher immediately put down the tissue in her hand and came over to comfort Lady Qin. Sure, is what you said true? I've been good to you, and this is a big family matter. You can't lie to me. Lady Qin looked at Song Yisher seriously and questioned her with an ugly expression. Mama Qin, the video can't be faked. It recorded what really happened. Also, a lot of people were at the Wei family's wedding. I wasn't the only one who saw it. The media also recorded it. You can verify it yourself, Song Yisha explained gently. Lady Qin was immediately annoyed. Okay, I understand. Sure, your car broke down. I'll ask my driver to take you home first. No need, Mama Qin. My dad sent someone to pick me up. I mainly wanted to wait for you here and tell you these things. After all, I don't want you to be like an idiot and be kept in the dark by some scheming woman. I understand. I'll take care of it. Thank you for telling me. Mrs. Qin replied with an unpleasant expression on her face. Song Yisha saw the opportunity and placed her hand on Lady Qin's shoulder. Mama Qin, you have to take care of yourself. Don't get angry at people who don't deserve it. If you need any help, remember to call me. Your business is my business. I know. Lady Qin nodded. Then, Lady Qin left the cafe in exhaustion. Song Yisha got into her black Bentley and left. Then, she picked up her phone. You guys wait for me at the club. I'll treat you guys to drinks tonight. Song Yisha seemed to be in a good mood. Meanwhile, Wei Liao's mansion was brightly lit. After the wedding, it was time for the most annoying part of the night. The wedding night, many of the rich second-generation young masters knew that Dr. Jiang was too fierce, so they did not dare to go too far. In the end, they pushed Su Yu and Tang Chuan out. Tang Chuan got an apple from somewhere and tied it with a string. Let the bride and groom take a bite. Later, apples were replaced with kumquats, and then red dates. Jiang Shaowei was so angry that she scolded, "Why don't you just change it to some melon seeds and sesame seeds?" Good idea. Tang Chuan grinned. Good my ass. You're toying with me now. Am I not planning to get married? When the time comes, don't blame me for paying you back double, Wei Liao cursed angrily. It's okay. When I get married, you won't be able to disturb my wedding night. You're already married. You're an uncle, not a young man. Ha! Tang Chuan was proud of himself. Then I can let Lord Su take revenge for me. Wei Liao looked at Su Yu. Our Lord Su might get married before me. When the time comes, he'll also be an uncle. Perfect. Tang Chuan teased. The atmosphere was very good for the whole night, but Su Yu was not in a good mood. Compared to the past, he was a little out of it. What's wrong? Lord Su? Tang Chuan asked while others were messing with the bride and groom. Nothing. Su Yu replied absent-mindedly. Don't tell me you're still immersed in that cool forehand duet from today. You're thinking about Huamin. Go away. Su Yu was unwilling to admit his thoughts. That's not easy. I'll help you choose a girl who looks similar to Huamin. Then go to Korea for plastic surgery. I guarantee that she'll be 10 times prettier than Huamin. When the time comes, you can just jump on her and have fun. Young Master Su let out a long sigh and uttered the most poetic sentence he had ever uttered in his life. He said, if you've seen the sea, you can't call it water. If you're not on Mount Wu, you can't call it a cloud. Damn, what do you mean? What cloud and what water? A woman with more water is indeed comfortable. Tang Chuan continued to make dirty jokes. Su Yu glanced at him in disdain. Go away, go away. Don't say that you know me when you go out. Su Yu felt that he was a pervert. Tang Chuan was even ruder than him. Wei Liao came over and secretly asked Su Yu mysteriously, I heard that you went on 4 blind dates in the last 5 days. How was it? Did you get any results? Chapter 1088. Oh, you're well informed. It seems like marriage didn't make you confused. You still know how to care about me. Su Yu looked at Wei Liao, amused. Of course. With our friendship, how can I not care about your marriage? Am I still human then? Tell me, how is it? Is there a reliable one? What do you think? Suyu rolled his eyes. Lord Su, it's not that I want to nag at you, but you still have to find someone. We can't be single forever. Also, remember, don't look at Huamin's standards. Wei Liao gave advice. Why? Suyu looked at him, not quite understanding. Because if you look at Huamin's standards, you probably won't find anyone in your lifetime. You know how weird Huamin is. Her looks can't be changed, but her personality can't be imitated. Her IQ can't be improved. You're quite insightful. Suyu looked at Wei Liao and chuckled. I'm doing this for your own good. What I mean is, if we really can't find a wife, let's find a beautiful, sensible, gentle, virtuous, generous, cheerful, beautiful, filial, and aristocratic. Look, how good is that? You'll be able to keep up appearances. Wei Liao advised. Ever since Wei Liao got together with Jiang Xiaowei, he had more contact with Huamin than before. But the more contact he had, the more he understood one thing. Huamin was also stubborn. She cared a lot about Qin Chu, and she could even risk her life for him. Her relationship with Qin Chu was unbreakable. It wasn't something that Lord Su could get just because he wanted it. Rather than yearning bitterly, it was better to let go. But the problem was that Suyu couldn't let go. He was shocked by Huamin's persistence. It was as if he was possessed. What you said makes sense. Suyu nodded. Wei Liao was pleasantly surprised that Lord Su's attitude had changed. Suyu continued, but I'm not interested in what you said. Wei Liao was speechless. After talking for so long, he tried his best to persuade her. It turned out that it was all in vain. Lord Su was simply impervious to everything. Groom, come and save us. Your wife is going crazy, the group of second-generation rich kids laughed and teased. They saw Jiang Xiaowei holding an inflatable hammer and fiercely hammering at the group of guys. Among them, Tang Chuan was the most seriously injured. Sister-in-law, don't hit him. You're not playing whack-a-mole. Why is there no end to it? Tang Chuan fled in all directions while Jiang Xiaowei chased after him relentlessly. Making a scene in the bridal room was really lively. It was a pity that Huamin wasn't here. Otherwise, it would have been even more fun. Basically, the things that she came up with in her head were the kind that would kill people. After Wei Liao went over, Siyu took out a can of Coke from the fridge alone and slowly drank it. He took out his phone and inadvertently scrolled through the screen. He found that Huamin's Weibo had updated in 5 seconds. It was a photo of the wedding scene. All 9 were beautiful photos of Jiang Xiaowei. The last one was a selfie of her and Jiang Xiaowei in the lounge. Although Huamin didn't wear such exquisite makeup, her aura didn't lose to Xiaowei's. Actually, there were such people in this world. They weren't devastatingly beautiful, but they could make you give everything you had, and to Suyu, Huamin was such a person. In the photo, Huamin and Jiang Xiaowei were both smiling. The two of them were face to face, and it was obvious that they were very close. Huamin was different from Song Yishe. She wouldn't say so much in front of her fans. She only added a few words in the photo. She said, "Time doesn't grow old, we won't part." These words were enough to express her friendship with Jiang Xiaowei. Suyu really wanted to like the photo, but he was afraid that others would misunderstand, so he resisted the impulse. Instead, he stared at the smiling Huamin in the photo for a long time. His gaze was like that of a young man who had just fallen in love. It was so sincere and so pure. At South Hill Manor. After posting on Weibo, Huamin was about to sleep in a daze. Suddenly, she received a WeChat message. Ding! She immediately woke up and picked up her phone. Chapter 1089. Hey girl, are you still alive? Hua Mian knew that it was from Zhu Lingling just by looking at the funny message. After Qin Chu took Hua Min away at the wedding, she and Gao Ran discussed it for a long time. She didn't know how Mr. Qin would deal with Hua Min. So, after thinking about it, she decided to ask. Her tone was a little funny. Lingling, I'm already at the Bridge of Forgetfulness. Can you come down and keep me company? Hua Min was even more heartless than her and replied with this sentence. Hello, goodbye. Zhu Lingling was so scared that she immediately said goodbye. Then, Zhu Lingling sent another message, ha ha ha, let's stop joking around. Tell me the truth, did Mr. Qin do anything to you? You two heartless bastards, how dare you ask? If I wasn't your bridesmaid, would this have happened? Hua Min replied angrily. Ha, who doesn't know that Mr. Qin loves you? I can tell from your tone that you're fine. You even have the time to talk nonsense with me, so nothing happened. Mr. Qin was just bluffing, so I'm relieved. Do you want to talk to me again if you keep doing this? Ha! You two are so dishonest, I won't even believe punctuation when you talk to me again. Hua Min teased her on purpose. Ha ha ha, don't be like this, we still have to play. After all, we only have one smart little friend. Zhu Lingling chuckled. Okay, you're in love right now, so you only care about the police. You won't care about your smart little friend. I understand, we both care about the opposite sex. Hey, you sound so sour. Don't forget how you and Mr. Qin used to torture single people. You guys are the classic example of a well-fed man not knowing the suffering of a starving man, Zhu Lingling said. So you were desperate and chose Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, ha ha ha, I'm going to tell Gao Ran that you're badmouthing him. Whatever. Whether it's money, looks, or IQ, your police officer is no match for him. Our Mr. Qin is definitely better. Pfft. Stop being so cocky. You're using Mr. Qin's name to bully us commoners, aren't you? Zhu Lingling sent a disdainful emoji. Because she replied with a voice message, Qin Chu heard it clearly. He turned his head to look at Hua Min and raised the corner of his mouth slightly. If you want to chat like this, I'll still like you very much, honey. Hua Min chuckled. Sure enough, flattery would always work. It turned out that the cold and arrogant Mr. Qin also liked to hear compliments. Just then, Lingling sent him another WeChat message. It was a text that opened it. She wrote, Girl, it's already winter in the north. Do you want to go shopping together after work tomorrow? I want to buy a white ferret. Ferret was not only warm but also beautiful. Many movie stars wore it, and Song Yisher loved it as well. Winter in Italy was cold, and she had more than 10 ferret coats in her wardrobe. There were long and short ones, popular ones, and popular ones. No, I'm fine with a cotton-padded jacket. When it gets colder, I have a down jacket. Hua Min directly refused. Pfft, cotton-padded jackets are so old-fashioned. Ferret coats are so beautiful. But ferret coats are built on the basis of cruel killing. Do you know how many ferrets are needed to make a beautiful ferret coat? Hua Min asked seriously. Zhu Lingling, do you know that in order to make a ferret coat beautiful, the ferrets aren't killed directly? Instead, they are flayed alive. Zhu Lingling, do you know that when the adult ferrets are flung to death, the ferrets watch their mother fall to death from the cage? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.